Spot 'em gang, we rollin' deep, digital streets, gifted subs, bitch raining heavy like beast. Got that Twitch game locked, homies reaching elite. Shout outs in the chat, yeah the fan can be beat. Spotters on Twitch, giving that boost. Raids in the night, juice up the views. Homies rise high, no excuse. Subs and bits, always bringing the rules. Hustle on stream, grind never stop. Chat blowing up, climbing to the top. Viewers all in, bout to make that bop. Spot 'em gang rise, Twitch like a shop. Got the follow trains, rolling non-stop. Spotters unite, cream of the crop. Streams blow up, never gon' flop. Dreams turn real, cause we never drop. Digital dollars, squirreled away. Spot 'em gang pride, making that hay. Twitch homie scream, we making our way. Success inevitable, game we gon' sway. Spotters on Twitch, giving that boost. Raids in the night, juice up the views. Homies rise high, no excuse. Subs and bits, always bringing the rules. Spotters in the chat, old caps, never slack. Big raids, big plays, homies got our back. Gifted subs reign, bits like a stream. Spot 'em gang rising, living that dream. Fortnite, Apex, hitting those headshots. Spotters pulling strings, yeah we call the hot shots. Streamers blowing up, rocket to the moon. 100 viewers now, make the haters swoon. Spot 'em gang, never lose, always win. In the Twitch jungle, yeah we going in. Gifted subs, bits, raids that don't end. Rise to the pinnacle, become the trend. Shout outs on blast, every single stream. Spot 'em gang hustling, following the dream. Viewers pour in, love from the chat. Climbing that ladder, ain't looking back. Merch drop, click, click, fans representing. Daily grind we on, no sign of relenting. Spotters by our side, loyalty a must. Twitch fame rising in, spot 'em we trust. Spot 'em gang, never lose, always win. In the Twitch jungle, yeah we going in. Gifted subs, bits, raids that don't end. Rise to the pinnacle, become the trend. Yeah, 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 yeah. Spot 'em gang, never lose, always win. In the Twitch jungle, yeah we going in. Gifted subs, bits, raids that don't end. Rise to the pinnacle, become the trend. Spot 'em gang, never lose, always win. In the Twitch jungle, yeah we going in. Gifted subs, bits, raids that don't end. Rise to the pinnacle, become the trend. Yeah. we the kings, making Twitch our spot. Gifted subs, showered love, climbing high non-stop. Viewers popping, raids dropping, shadows spreading wide. Homies rise, spotters thrive, grinding side by side. We ain't playing, pushing numbers, taking over streams. Bits be flowing, channels glowing, living out our dreams. Streamers repping, no stepping on this gamer grind. Twitch and glory, telling stories, spot 'em gang, we shine. Subs gifted, no limit, making waves through the charts. We uplifting, no drifting, loyalty in our hearts. Hustling daily, never failing, gaming with the fam. Spotters moving, always proving we the top of the jam. Viewers peak, we never weak, every follow count. Platform wide, taking pride, numbers on the mount. Chastity blurbing, never curving, energy precise. Homies rise, no surprise, we built for this life. We ain't playing, pushing numbers, taking over streams. Bits be flowing, channels glowing, living out our dreams. Streamers repping, no stepping on this gamer grind. Twitch and glory, telling stories, spot 'em gang, we shine. Morning hustle, midnight muscle, grinding day and night. Spot 'em gang, leading clans, keeping victories tight. Raids be booming, fans consuming, always show us love. Spotters ruling, streaming, schooling, rise up, rise above. Spotters in the booth, we the kings of the stream. Ain't nobody gon' stop this, living out the dream. Gifted subs, hit the chat, make it ring like the cream. Raised to the homies, we're the Twitch team supreme. Got the bits stacking high, flood the screen with the loot. Shoutouts on the spot, ain't no need for the mute. Viewers climbing up, flood the chat with the truth. Spot 'em gang in the cut, hit the target and shoot. We spot 'em, we got 'em.
Oh my god. Go ahead.
We good?
You can start again. Yeah, you can start the intro again.
Start the whole intro?
Yeah, start the whole intro.
We good? Okay, awesome. We are professionals. But as I was saying, welcome to the SPOTCAST. This is episode 2, where we gather every couple of weeks to discuss all things video games. Every episode, we each pick a topic, bring it to the table, and break it down for all of you fine folks. Once again, I am joined by the Cloud Strife of the podcast and the leader of the Final Fantasy VII Hate Brigade, Kainitsu. How's it going, man?
It's going all right. How about yourself, bro?
Good dude. Anyway, we were talking about your Final Fantasy VII video you're working on.
Yeah.
Still going. You said your script was like 82 pages or some crazy shit.
No, it's not quite that long just yet, but it's over 12 now. It's still going, so it's turned into a big project.
Yeah, I don't envy you at all. Awesome. Well, my other co-host is the creator of the Spot'em Discord server and self-proclaimed people's champion, Cicada. What's up, man?
That is true. The people's champion here.
You do call yourself that. Nobody.
Yes, I do. I will gladly take that title of the People's Champion, even if I have to proclaim it myself. But either way, yeah, it's been a pretty eventful couple of weeks. You got your lore incorrect. I'm not the creator of the server, believe it or not. It goes way deeper than I'm not the creator.
Oh my God, I did not know that.
There's a lot of lore there. There's some we need an official Spotum historian to keep track of all the craziness. We're going to be reaching our third birthday on February 24th, 2025. So we're going to be 3 years old.
A lot of stolen valor. A lot of stolen valor.
I take credit where I can, but yeah, I did not create this Discord server. Now, if you talk about like how the organization and the vision behind it's kind of like a Steve Jobs Apple situation. If you want to look for an analogy.
Oh. You're Steve and the creator's like Wozniak.
Yeah, sort of like that. Give or take. Little creative. Reconstruction there, but either way, so we've been it's been quite a few couple of weeks since we did our first premiere episode, and I'm excited to get this next episode going. Guys in the audience, please, I apologize. I'm trying to do my best to produce this. I'm not the best at it, but I'm getting better, and I'm sure it will get better. The quality of the podcast will get better as time goes on. But yeah, so I'm excited to be here, dude.
Yeah, no, it basically just the reset gave me an opportunity to rehearse the intro, so it's all good.
Yeah,
better delivery that second time, no stuttering. But yeah, man. So we're gonna go into our first segment, which will be what we've been playing, the games we've been playing for the past 2 weeks or so. It says here that Kai, you've been playing Soul Reaver 1 and 2.
Yeah,
tell me about it.
So. Most of you, or most don't know, there was a Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remake, remaster that came out back in December 10th, I think. It was really surprising. It just kind of came out of nowhere. There was a bit of a rumor going on, but it was really nice to see this IP get a little bit revitalization, because it's desperately needed to come back, because it has such a great story and everything. I've enjoyed my time. I beat 2 of those games in 1 week compared to the other one. So yeah, it was good times of it. I had enjoyed myself. Although there has a bit of an issue of a pretty game-breaking bug, unfortunately. Especially in the first game. Yeah. And the first one, they decided to put a day and night cycle for whatever reason, and once night decides to come up, it's just unplayable. I literally had to like wash out my colors and turn up the brightness on my monitor to play through it. So
is the day-night cycle, is it active? Like, if you just stand there, it will turn day and night, or is it between levels, or how does it? Those games are an open world, right? They're like level based, right?
Kind of. Like it's not necessarily open world, but it has like a bit of a hub and places to go that branch out and everything. It's pretty linear for the most part, but it is. I guess it's timed, because I'm not sure what the timing is. Sometimes it just seems to be random, like when it decides to be night, when it wants to decides to be daytime. But once it's daytime, it's like, oh man, this game's great. And that's only with the first one, really. On the second one, there is that same issue for whatever reason with one level in particular, but that's the only time I experienced it.
Yeah. Huh. So are they as good as you remember them being, or are they like? Is it like a situation where you went back to, you're like, I don't know, man, this isn't. I know why Kid Kai Nitsu like this, but
right.
I don't.
Yeah, Kid Kai, definitely that was the goth kid in me. And I was like, oh yeah, that's the goth game. I think I was like 12 or 13 when that game came out. But yeah, no, it's definitely dated when it comes to a lot of its gameplay. It's a bit limited. It is like an action game, but yeah, and also all the bosses in the first game are complete gimmicks. Like they're all gimmick fights.
Yeah, a lot of stuff like that used to be. I loved those games when I was a kid too, because I was also a little goth edgelord kid.
Right.
Was. And I haven't gotten around to playing them. I'm probably gonna check them out. On Steam, it looks like they've got very positive. Yeah, very positive.
Yeah,
reviews.
It's pretty positive.
So that's good. I haven't heard any bad things about it.
Yeah, I got an 84 Metacritic from people, but again, it basically just came from like, oh well, the game's so dated. I'm just like, well, yeah. The first one was made in or came out in 99. The second one came out in
Yeah.
2001. So it'd be a
Yeah,
bit
'cause then
dated
you get
there.
into then you get into Legacy of Kain and all that stuff. And
Well, it's all
yeah, they
Legacy
were
of
good.
Kain.
Yeah. I'm not as I had a friend who had them all.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure I played Soul Reaver 1 and 2 at his house. And then I think I got the third one. I don't know. It's mixed. I need to go back and play them though. So but
Yeah.
that's cool. Are you going to do a video on it or are you just going to enjoy it?
No, that was just me to that
Yeah.
was something fun for me to do on my own. I didn't have to. It's not like a job to play that game, so
Yeah.
it was just to play it.
Yeah, it's only a job to hate on Final Fantasy 7. So
That's right.
cool, man. All right. So moving on, Zicada, looks like you've been playing Dragon Quest 3, the HD remake. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I have been. And it's been a nice rekindling of my first experiences with JRPGs and stuff. I kind of forgot I hadn't played Dragon Quest 3 in at least 20 years since the 90s. And when you're a kid, especially being less than 10 years old, you're not really, the story is okay, when you're playing a video game, but you're not really that too invested in the story. So this, even Pokemon, it's a very, very, very surface level story.
Yeah.
It and you can kind of see a lot of similarities between Dragon Quest 3 and Pokemon. The story is basically kind of off to the side. They don't really care about the story all that much. And it's all about that addictive gameplay loop. And that I keep seeing after playing this again, the last time I played this was before Pokemon even came out. So you're talking before 1999. And then I'm playing it again. I'm seeing so many similarities between Dragon Quest 3 and Pokemon, from the monster collecting to the grinding, and the fact that it's just almost the same kind of story tropes and just the whole progression of the game. It's almost I don't want to say it's a 1-to-1, but it's so close. And you kind of understand why it's the games like Dragon Quest and Pokemon are so fucking popular in Japan. It's that gameplay loop. It's like the golden ticket. It has nothing to do with people look at Dragon Quest and what the fuck, this game, what is this game? This game is nothing special. But when you play it, you have to play it to realize and feel what that whole thing is about. You feel the magic when you play it. And that's been my experience with it so far. So I'm about 40 hours into it right now. I'm trying to wrap it up on stream in the next couple of days. Oh yeah, a good 15 hours is just straight grinding. Because the grinding in the game, you'll see people arguing on Twitter about the grind game in there, but the grind game is obviously necessary, especially if you want to do job changes of class changes of your characters later on in the game. When you do a class change, you go back to level 1, and then you basically, I think you lose all of your stats except for half of your stats or something like that. So you get a significant boost, and you can obviously re-level really quickly. But yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, you have to obviously grind if you're gonna play around with the different classes and jobs and stuff. But it's just a very fun game. Talk about a cozy RPG to play on the Switch. I mean, the one gripe that I will say, because I haven't said anything negative about the game, in its current state right now, if you play it on Steam, on PC, or any next-gen console, it's going to look fucking amazing. I bought it on the Switch, and I played every Square Enix HD 2D game, JRPG, that they've made on the Switch. They've all run wonderfully, amazingly. For some reason, this particular version runs pretty bad. A lot of chugging, a lot of frame rate drops. I guess it's just poorly optimized.
Yeah, so are we dropping from below 30, or are we doing a 60 to 30?
I don't even think it runs at 60 natively. But you're getting like single digit frames at some points, just like and long loading times too, actually, which is surprising.
Really?
Yeah, I always commented a comment about it on my streams, how like, like I'm waiting like at least 5 seconds to go from like a town to the overworld. Like that's a little crazy in 2024.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially
rough.
for a game that's on solid state, should be really, single digit frame. Yeah, it's exactly. It's just that's the whole thing. That is my one little gripe with it. I will look past that. I already play a lot of games on the Switch with like a significant handicap in terms of performance and frames. So I'm like, and I'm an older person, so like I can handle. I grew up with the N64. I grew up playing GoldenEye multiplayer, a four screen split. At like 3 frames per second as you're just like going crazy in that game. So, sometimes like low frame rates don't bother me, but like when it takes you out of the game like that and you feel like the fact that like you should not be having that kind of performance issue in 2024 for a game that's not, there's more impressive games that run on the Switch other than an HD 2D game.
The Witcher 3 runs on Switch 30 frames.
Yeah, I played The Witcher 3 completely on the Switch. Completely
Did
through.
you?
Yeah.
Did you?
So, because it comes with all the DLC.
Is that the only way you
I played it on hand? Well, I played it on PC, but I didn't beat it on PC. I have it on Steam.
Okay.
But
because that game deserves better than the Switch. Like I feel like The Witcher 3 is for those like poor kids who parents only got them a Switch. Me, basically, when I was a kid. You only got the one and you really want to play it and that's the only way. But I mean, if you've got the means, like why would
I chose to do that. And I did that for multiple reasons. It's a little psycho, but I did it for multiple reasons. Well, I primarily I did it to support CD Projekt Red in putting the entire game on a cart. So so all of Witcher is on a 32 gigabyte Switch cart. The entire game. There's no download. Yeah. There's nothing like that. It's completely on the cart. Plus, they had a really sick physical edition. This is a special edition, physical edition. And they not only had the special edition, not only did they put the whole entire game on the cart, I mean, the game looks good, runs at a solid 30 FPS. And, I wanted to support the Nintendo platform. I was hoping by me going and purchasing that game and supporting that game that more developers would take the risk and port games that were bigger, but would require the bigger cartridge, which a lot of, publishers opt not to do. It costs them more money to do that, especially with digital distribution being basically king now, and physical media going the wayside. Me being a physical collector, especially when it comes to Switch games, I had a lot of incentive to go that route. But unfortunately, it was a losing battle regardless, and we're probably looking at the last physical generation with the Switch 2, but it is what it is. But I did choose to take that path.
Yeah, I understand the support but I'd still play it on a either a console or a PC that isn't the Switch. Because that game is so cinematic, it's so, I don't know. But hey, to each their own.
I mean, I played, and like I said too, I also played it in handheld mode. So, when you're playing it in handheld mode on an OLED,
that's the only way I play my Switch.
It's not the worst experience in the world, especially when you have the convenience of like lounging on a bed or a couch, or being in a waiting room at a doctor's office or something. Being able to get your gaming hours in like just anywhere. I don't know. The Switch is quite the amazing thing. That's why I'm a huge Switch fan.
Yeah, it was a magical moment, honestly, when I got Skyrim on the Switch. I was like, oh my god, I'm laying in bed playing Skyrim. This is fucking insane. Granted, I barely got out of Whiterun until I was like, okay, I'm good. But that was
a long
time ago.
So the Switch, when the Switch came out, you had Skyrim, right? That was like the surprising piece of software that was revealed in the Switch reveal trailer back in 2016. Well, you know what a game is going to be that game for Switch too, right?
Cyberpunk.
Well, I mean, I don't think that's if they do show that I'd be actually my jaw would drop. But I was thinking more Elden Ring. I definitely could see Elden Ring being put on the Switch too as like a launch title.
Yeah. I wouldn't be too surprised by that. I was kind of picking surprise options, but yeah, I think I agree.
Cyberpunk would be wild. Although it could happen. It's supposed to have the power of a PS4 Pro in handheld. So it would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's still that's gonna be a pretty stinky version of Cyberpunk then, I think. But all right.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah, it's like Cyberpunk's an interesting game because I know somebody personally. He may be even watching the podcast right now. He plays Cyberpunk 2077 in VR exclusively. There's like some mod out there where you can play it on the MetaQuest 3 but you have to obviously connect it to your PC. It can't run off the graphics chipset inside the MetaQuest. But if you plug it into your PC like through a high-speed USB cable, you'd be able to actually like live in Night City in your VR. And he says, dude, sometimes he binge plays the game for days in VR. Like he'll disappear for 2-3 days and like live a second life in Night City. Like that's crazy. So like Cyberpunk, I don't know, man. I don't know if it would work on the Switch.
It's pretty intense.
Maybe if you had the Labo VR headset for the Switch.
The Labo, you're on the Labo.
Playing Cyberpunk on the Switch too with the Labo. Well, I don't know.
So stupid. Oh my god. I always like the Labo is one of those memories. It exists in my brain, and I never think about it till it gets knocked loose.
Core memory unlocked.
Yeah, it just shakes loose in there, and I remember that it's in there. And that's hilarious. But all right, well, was there anything else you wanted to say about Dragon Quest?
About Dragon Quest in general, I do recommend that I do recommend that everyone try it. Go buy it. Get it on sale if it's on sale. It just got released last month, so obviously it's not going to go on sale right now, but I do recommend playing it. It did have a high concurrent player count on Steam. I think it did really fucking well. I think it sold over 1 million copies within 4 weeks. Square Enix released preliminary numbers. I don't know if that was physical and digital combined. It was like the #1 selling game in Japan. Fuck yeah. JRPGs, RPGs in general for the win. We're fucking back, baby. We've never been so back. We're back. That's all I got to say about that.
Now, I'm assuming that it has random encounters. Like you're just roaming around in the world. Okay, yeah.
Straight up fucking annoying random encounters that are so fucking random and annoying and hardcore. Forget about it. You'll love it.
Yeah, so let me ask you, does it have that thing that like the Final Fantasy remakes have where they you can speed the battles up?
Yeah, except the fastest setting, it feels like normal pacing.
Normal because it was so slow.
So the normal one is fucking so painfully slow. You'll go insane. So you have to play it on the fastest just so you feel like you're actually living in real time.
Yeah. It'd be nice if they went back which I mean I know purists would probably fucking shit themselves, but it'd be nice if they went back and like rebalanced those kind of games to make them a little less, at least for people like me, because I don't like the random encounters. I really like the way. Yeah, I really like the way like Persona does it, the new Pokemon does, like all that where the enemies are in the overworld and you can kind of choose whether or not you want to engage with them, or they'll chase you sometimes and you will get pulled into some out of your control, but it's rare and occasional. You're not just roaming around this empty dungeon and something pops up. That takes me out of it completely.
I used to feel that way too, especially like even being a gamer from the 90s. Chrono Trigger didn't have random encounters like that. In Chrono Trigger, which was an SNES game, considered one of the best JRPGs of all time, all your encounters were enemies you could see. So you could kind of actively avoid encounters if you wanted to. But I think the allure to Dragon Quest is the random encounters are part of the charm. People love it.
Okay.
People in Japan, they'll be on the train ride to work and they'll just fight battles the entire hour trip from like Osaka to Tokyo. So that it's all about that gameplay loop. Like it's a style, it's a charm, and it's an aesthetic. It's people don't really care. That's what people like about it. I thought I wasn't gonna like it either, and I ended up liking it. So
Yeah. It definitely seems like on the cozy side.
it is on the cozy side. It's very cutesy too. Akira Toriyama artwork.
The random encounters and grind, that would just make it not cozy for me, I think, personally. But that's fine. It's not for everybody. All right, did you have anything else on Dragon Quest?
On that particular topic, no. But I see we got some people in chat from Twitter that have seen some of the drama unfold. So we'll get to that in a little bit, I guess, later on in the show.
That's our.
I just want to let chat know because I see some people in chat saying they're getting their JavaScripts ready. They're gonna run their JavaScripts on their Switch too. So stand by, guys.
We're saving the best for last. Don't worry. We got to string you along. We got to give you the.
Got to build it. See, this is all True Villain's idea. He's got to build a story first. He's got to get into that creative flow.
Build it up. So, all right. Well, on the things I've been playing, I finally beat Metaphor. Finally beat it after 100. I think I clocked 123 hours in it. And,
Lord, where's my soundboard?
Yeah, dude. It's a fantastic game. Fantastic. I definitely have issues with it. I think that ending drags out way too long. I think the final boss is fucking annoying. But the story's really good. I like how it plays out. It kind of sets up a sequel. I saw actually today that the director of it would love to do a sequel. I think the sequel would be interesting because there's without spoiling anything, there's core mechanics of this game that couldn't be in the next game just based on how the story plays out.
Okay.
And so I don't know what a second Metaphor looks like unless they do a time skip or something, maybe. Or something like that. Since you don't create a character and you play a fixed character, there's some interesting things they could do where maybe you play a different character and the character you play in this one is just in the world doing his thing. I don't know, but it was good. I think I settled out. I think the ending kind of, again, I was a little happy for it to be over just because it's dragged out for a very long time, but I definitely recommend it. I think it probably...
Yeah, I'm torn.
Yeah. Still should have won Game of the Year. Fuck Astrobot.
Both you guys have kind of got me a little scared to get to the end of that game.
Yeah. Well, you probably won't have an issue with it. Yeah, you won't have an issue with it at all because I feel like you're a little bit more equipped to handle. And when I talked to Roteman about it as well, he's like, "Oh yeah, that's just Atlas games. That's just what it is." I loved it, so it's like, hey, maybe it's just a me problem. So I don't know. I would still get to the end
Roteman's got some wise takes when it comes to. He's a dude who's literally been playing this shit for a good 40 years himself. So he's actually a very, very well eldered statesman in terms of some of these games.
Yeah. I will say this, I've said it before, I think, to both of you at one point or another. I don't think it's better than Persona 5 at all. I think that it's in every conceivable way. Except maybe the setting, it's worse.
The setting is the main reason why Metaphor attracts me a lot more than Persona did. But I can't formulate an opinion yet. Yeah, has Kai said anything? Or has he just been super quiet?
He's been listening.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He's super quiet. Just wanted to make sure you're still there and didn't get muted or some production error happening. But yeah. But yeah, I love high fantasy so much more than I do anything that's analogous to the real world. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. But it very well could be true that Persona 5 just fucking takes the cake,
I just think they execute better. If you swapped executions between Metaphor and Persona, I think that it would have been fantastic. I would have much preferred that because, again, I do like the setting better. I like the idea of Metaphor better, but Persona 5, the characters are better, the music's better. I actually like the combat system a little bit better in Metaphor, but not by much. I think the structure's better. I think they do the like the relationships with characters better. I just think it's all just done better in Persona 5. I hope that if they do a
Yeah,
sequel, and I hope they do,
I know I brought this
they
up before, but I do think that, obviously Persona had a lot more time to flesh out its world and its, how it, portrays a story, whereas Metaphor is a brand new IP, right?
Mm.
So even when Octopath
that's
came
my
out,
hope.
right? Octopath came
That's my
out,
hope.
it was like a seed, and it was a game that everyone really, really wanted to like, and Octopath kind of was lackluster. It wasn't like what you're everything you're saying about Metaphor, like how like it was like the idea and all the stuff behind it seemed so good, but it wasn't executed that well.
Mhm.
The same thing with Octopath 1. Everything was like there to make like a perfect game, but it wasn't executed properly. Same thing with when Octopath 2 came out, though. Octopath 2 blew away Octopath 1. But then you have some newer games that are brand new IPs that are doing just fine. But yeah, Octopath is a perfect example that went from a brand new IP finding its way, it getting more comfortable with itself and how it wanted to actually portray its story. Hopefully Metaphor, and I think it will, it didn't win Game of the Year, unfortunately, but I think it will come out with a sequel that will probably be better than its original inception.
I hope so. Yeah, because I'm rooting for it. I think that and I definitely think they need to make it rated M. This one was rated T, and you can definitely tell. I think that like the characters aren't as good because they're T-rated characters. They're all very upbeat, very positive. They don't really like even their struggles.
I also did not know this. You pointed this out to me before too, that it was rated M, and yeah,
I think Heisme, the little bat guy, I think he has the best character arc and the best struggle, and he was one of the only times I actually felt like emotionally attached to one of the characters and like their struggles and stuff. Everyone else,
His
I kind of got this.
story
Yeah, go ahead.
is
Go
super
ahead.
super sad.
It
It was
is.
really easy to want to like actually care about him, and it was very emotional.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Heisme sucks as a
tugging
character.
the heart.
Like, like as stats, he sucks.
I will
But as a character,
Let me
he's
add
good.
a small caviat.
It's a shame, Kai. You only made it 2 episodes on the podcast. It's a shame, man. We really enjoyed you.
I'm sorry, my hot takes are too hot for you, bro.
I think Kai is just
Anyway,
gonna
go
be
ahead.
full of these hot takes. He's gonna have to churn these fuckers out.
Go ahead.
I
What
mean-
were you saying, Kai? Go ahead with this slide.
He's fine as a character, like what his story is and his backstory and him going through and actually overcoming what he has endured and honestly kind of brings, not to say anything in particular, like but brought back life into him as a character, or as a person. It's pretty enlightening. And again, I love all of that, and it was always very heartwarming to see his struggle, as you mentioned. But again, as I said, I did not like him as much as playing with him because the stats were not that great.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, dude. Heisme, he's towards the end of the game, he's he's one of the best characters because he's a tank,
Really?
but he's a dodge tank. And so
okay.
once you get his later I called them personas the whole time I played, but his archetype, once you get the like all the way up, like it's the there's the assassin, and then I think there's the ninja. It's something like that. Once you get that last one, it dodges fucking everything. Which, if you remember in the combat system, if you dodge something, it takes like 2 of their fucking attacks away. And so he just sits there and bleeds attacks. Even if he doesn't do anything, him just sitting there dodging attacks will just bleed them of their turns, which on some of them final bosses is fucking essential. It's the only way I got through some of those final bosses, because he was just bleeding them turns. And so he actually is one of the best characters, like in terms of combat later.
I guess
on.
we keep him. Yeah, I guess we keep him as like his actual archetype. He became a buffer for me, like, and then he got replaced by I don't remember who. But yeah, he was just a buffer.
Well, the problem is at the start of the game, you fight a lot of undead shit, which is like the first like 30 hours of that game. There's nothing like weak.
His dark stuff doesn't really work too well. Yeah.
And so you have to wait. He's a slow burn in terms of his archetypes, and you can give it to another person, but his natural agility
and
is so
everything.
high.
Yeah.
It pairs really well, and so he's going to be unless you make your main character that, he's going to be the best one for that role, and he just sits there dodging attacks and draining them while everyone else was like bringing the fucking pain, and it was really good.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I might have to do
Yeah.
that. I still need to beat that game. I got like 8 hours in and I stopped.
It's a long one, dude. You better, you got to settle in although you beat like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth in like 2 days, so like
no, that was literally a week of my life.
He
It was
poured
96.
I was gonna say he
fucking
poured like
hours.
part of his soul into that shit.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
It was
that
wild.
was my life for a week. Was that game because I wanted to get through it and it wouldn't end. I'm not gonna talk anymore about it because I'll just be here for like 5 hours just complaining about Rebirth.
Yeah, let's not do that. We still got 3 topics to get through. So.
I know, right?
Yeah, so that's Metaphor. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fantastic. I had gripes about it, but I hope they get addressed. The other game I've only just started it is Kingdom Come Deliverance. I don't know that I necessarily have anything to say on it that hasn't been said about it before. It's really kind of janky, but it's got some cool stuff in it.
Yeah.
I like how realistic it is. Apparently, like if you stink, like, and you're trying to sneak around, like guards will smell you and shit.
Yeah, it's honestly like the most immersive sim. It is extremely realistic in so many ways. Like you start as a peasant, like a blacksmith's assistant, and you have to like literally learn how to read and stuff like that. It's pretty insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really good. In a lot of ways, I'm trying to debate if I can get through the jank because it'll be going good, but then something will break it for me. For instance, like I think the combat it's not that it's bad in that it's because I know it's supposed to be rough because he doesn't know how to and that's fine. It's to do combat you get locked into each other and then you slide around the ground like you're ice skating. And you just
That's weird.
And you're like locked in with this person. So you're like sliding in a circle while sword fighting. And it's it's almost vomit inducing. Like if I was in VR, I would probably be sick, but it really takes me out of it and it makes the combat. Whereas like if it was something a little bit more like Skyrim or just a little more free aiming. So I don't know. It's apparently the second one improves a lot of that. So but I'm gonna see if I can. Yeah, the thing is I'm also fighting the urge to just do another playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3 before a lot of shit comes out next year. So by the time we have the next episode, we'll see if Kingdom Come is on the list of games I played or if it's just Baldur's Gate 3 because every day is an exercise in me not playing Baldur's Gate. So and other than that, I've just been kind of playing Warhammer Total War 3 on the side. I mean, it's a strategy game. If you like those, it's a great one. So
yeah, I see that popping up on my Steam alerts all the time when you're playing it.
It's like my cozy game. It's a great one to stream too. People really seem to enjoy it when I stream it. So I think because there's a lot of interaction where you can name generals and stuff
cities
after
and stuff.
people,
Yeah,
cities and armies, and so and I love doing that kind of stuff because it and then taking them on, and sometimes they die, sometimes they die in combat, and we have a funeral for the viewer. Yeah, so
I gotta get back into Fire Emblem. 2025, I'm gonna get back into Fire Emblem full time. I gotta beat Engage. I still have to beat Engage.
I heard Engage was bad. I've played Awakening and I've played Three Houses.
It depends on who you talk to, because there's like when Three Houses came out, it created like a whole weeb schism in the Fire Emblem community.
The great weeb schism.
It's the great weeb schism of 2019 or 2018, whenever it came out, because people felt that Three Houses was like Harry Potter weeb simulator.
It was fine.
Three Houses. I thought Three Houses was fucking great.
It was one of those games I started 4 times, and on the 4th time I finally got it and really enjoyed it. But the first 3 times I was like, I don't know, man. This is just. I'll tell you what bothered me.
That's like Fire Emblem in general, though. It takes a few times.
I'll tell you what
before you start running with it.
Bothered me the most about Fire Emblem Three Houses, and it's the stupidest thing, but it bothered the hell out of me. So when you pick the guy character, his outfit, he has these
Dimitri?
like things.
Or the
Whatever.
Deer House.
I don't the main character, the guy
Well,
you
they're all-
play as.
Well, yeah, there's
You
all
play
three of them are gonna be. Is he the blonde-haired guy or the blue house?
Well, no. The guy you play, like your character. That you
Oh,
play as.
Byleth. Yeah.
Yeah, Byleth.
Yep.
Yeah, when you pick him, his outfit, he has these like tassels that come out from his
Yeah.
elbows on his suit, and they don't have physics. But they just shoot out behind you as you run, and
They
it
don't
bothered
have this.
the fuck out of me to watch. Oh my god, I don't know what it was.
That's fucking
It
funny.
annoyed the living shit out of me, but I got over it. And then
Yeah, I feel like
I did enjoy it a lot. So
it's so weird to care about Byleth because like you're the teacher with all these like student kids. Kind of also like it just felt
You're like,
weird
"Would
that
you
whole
like to go to lunch with me?"
yeah. Well, the part of the game is romance options. I mean, you're a fucking teach. I that kind of bothered me in that game, but it's also one of the
Yeah.
reasons why I kind of like Engage a lot better. Like you're straight up just like the
Well,
dragon
you just
god.
What you explain about the teachers and everything sounds very anime to me. So
It's well, that's why it caused like a
Insane.
great because like a lot of Fire Emblem purists that like pre Nintendo Switch Fire Emblem games essentially, they disown Three Houses, and if you play Three Houses and like it, you are an undesirable. So
are the weeb. Get out of here. Go watch you around.
Exactly.
I
So
mean-
yeah, you got to be. I personally enjoy
Engage
the
looks
Weeb
great.
versions. The Engage is great. It's great.
It looks
You get
pretty
all the
weeby
old
too, though.
characters. It is, but you also get all the old characters from all the previous Fire Emblem games. They come back as ghosts essentially, but you still get them. You can still battle with them and stuff. You can invoke them through rings, but it's a cool premise. It's it's still obviously it's built on the entire same Weeb engine that
Weeb
the Genshin Impact engine or whatever it's built on, but the gameplay is
Right.
the core mechanic that's important in Fire Emblem, And obviously a lot of people also think if you don't play with permadeath that you're a big pussy too, but I like
You
my
are.
characters. I don't want them to die. But
You don't play with perms?
Yeah, I don't play with permadeath now.
Oh, you're doing it wrong. Listen.
No,
Nah,
I'm gonna be how you want, man.
you are correct.
No,
You
no,
are
no, don't
correct.
listen
That
to
is the
him.
way to play.
You're playing it wrong. Yeah, I'm
No, it is true. And
veteran.
yeah, like the permadeath thing is actually like that
You
was
have
one of
to
the
have
reasons why
permadeath.
Nintendo didn't want to bring it to the West. Because they like, no, Americans can't handle your characters dying permanently.
I mean, I
so
don't like that stuff. I don't like mechanics like that because, like, dude,
yeah, a lot of people don't.
no, man. I might make a mistake, and I don't want to be punished because I made one tiny little fucking mistake, and I lost the character I
Oh,
really
you
like.
will be
No, but you can
punished.
save
You will be
some.
punished.
Well, you can save scum if you want, but
True, but
Well,
still, just depends.
well,
Like,
the
if
cool
you like
thing
how
about-
far you went from the last save point, and then you have to like that.
and a lot of the new ones you can
No.
like reverse time.
You
on
can,
some of the new-
yeah. I was gonna just bring that
yeah.
up. In Three Houses, they have the time wheel or some shit. So
Okay,
someone dies on a turn, you can go back. I think you can go back as many turns as you want, but you can only do it 3 times in like a battle or
Oh.
some shit. So like you have 3
Yeah, if you get a
opportunities to
Makes
fix
me a little sad that
some mistakes.
that makes me a little sad that
that's it.
that's limited. But I do like that a trend in just RPGs in general is that you're able just to retry battles. That's been a nice thing to see here lately. You don't have to worry about like going back to a
Yeah.
save point, going back to all that, and got to trudge through a dungeon to get back to the fight you're at. You can just like, I want to retry. Thank you.
Well,
Oh yeah, that's another thing about like Dragon Quest 3. They went back to save points. No fucking auto save shit. No retry
damn.
battles. Yeah, that sucked about that. But sorry, go ahead, Dylan.
Yeah, no, you're good. My attitude with like games like Fire Emblem and XCOM and stuff is like, I don't want every game to be like them, but I'm glad that they are. It's like Dark Souls. I don't want every game to be Dark Souls, but I'm really glad that Dark Souls is, because there's nothing like the pain of losing a soldier in XCOM 2, and it's just gone. You've named them after your best friend, and they're dead.
Oh, no.
And then in XCOM 2, they become like, as they fight together, they pair up and they get bonuses and stuff. And if one of them dies, the other one suffers like crippling depression, and so they get like stat decreases
Oh, dude, they get debuffed
Yeah.
because they're
Wow.
sad.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
because their homie died. Yeah, and
I mean, that makes sense, but shit.
Yeah, and and then and you'll save scum it, but there's some missions you've got to sacrifice someone to get out, and it's you can't get moments like that, and if you don't have that permadeath in there.
Yeah, but I don't want
okay, well, you died.
Moments, so.
I said I'm depressed enough in my day-to-day existence without.
Yeah, my life sucks enough. I don't want to be sad because of a video game, although that happens sometimes, but it's only because of, a story movie.
I'm a huge fan of depression in all things. All right, so
you melancholy bastard.
we got nothing else on any video games that we've been playing. We can move on to the first topic. We good? We good with that?
Yeah, I'm good. If you're good.
All right.
Kai's ready to unleash.
Yeah, this is Kai's topic, the first one. I'm gonna set it up.
Okay.
I'm gonna set it up. So, after weeks of rumor and speculation, Sony has increased its shares in the media company Katakawa. Rather than outright buying the company, as many fans hoped, they merely secured an additional 8% for $320 million, bringing them to a total of 10% ownership in the overall company.
Mm-hmm.
While far less than speculated, this makes Sony the largest single shareholder of the company. Why is this news of any note to a gaming podcast like ours? Well, Katakawa owns a number of IP and anime and video games, including a 70% stake in From Software, the makers of Elden Ring. So, since this is your topic, Kai, I'm going to let you take this in whatever direction you want to take it, buddy.
Yeah, I thought this was a really interesting thing to happen with something that a lot of people actually didn't know, and I think they missed in some of the stories, but it's there's so many articles to go through. Katakawa was actually a little bit in danger of being bought by like a South Korean company. I don't remember who was actually interested in buying them at first. So then I guess they're like, oh, well, let's have Sony step in. Sony's like, oh, we want that instead. And so this started happening. They got the letter and everything saying like, hey, we're thinking about possibly buying you. Do you want to be bought? And this is to do more with makes sense for Sony to do that as well, because they actually been getting more into anime and manga rights and IPs and everything. Like they own Crunchyroll and Funimation streaming, and some other stuff as well. So it only made sense. What I do find interesting as well is that you don't usually hear this from companies when they're actually happening at that time. People within Katakawa were like, yeah, they're rooting for for a Sony buyout. They wanted a Sony buyout. They mainly wanted that because they wanted some management changes. They're not real too happy with the CEO of Katakawa. But that didn't happen, obviously, as you just mentioned. They were only 2% stake in Katakawa before they decided to just dump 50 billion yen and buy like 12 million shares. It was like 12 million shares that they bought. They only bumped them up to 8%. Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy to me.
It's a big company.
It is a big company, but 12 million shares is only 10%. Like that's yeah. But yeah, they did that instead. So it's gonna be interesting seeing what the landscape is gonna be going forward for honestly some different things in manga and anime. Because they own rights to Ronken, I can never get that. Yeah,
Danganronpa.
That name right. Yes, Danganronpa. That one. I can never say that one right. They have that developer. They have some other developers as well. And again, for anime, they have Sword Art Online, which it's some other things as well. So they're going to be having those, but I'm more interested in what's going to be happening in like the video game aspect of all of this, just for the sheer fact that since they do have a bit of a larger stake and the largest stake out of any third party for their company, and since they actually also own 14% of From Software, if you didn't know about that, whereas where Katakawa owns 70%, and I think Tencent owns like 8% of From Software. Yeah, but they got their hands in like everything, and they're not like doing anything. They're not like pulling strings, which is nice, but it is hard to hear about Tencent in every single fucking company that you possibly want to care about. But yeah, they might have some more exclusives coming to possibly PlayStation. We have no idea. I would love to see a Bloodborne 2, god damn it. But Miyazaki, he's like, no, I don't like sequels. I'm like, dude, you at least made a sequel to Dark Souls, but you only did that because 2 was so bad. So he's like, I have to correct this. This is tarnishing my my reputation. So I would like to see a Bloodborne 2. That's honestly my favorite out of the Soulsborne series. That maybe Sekiro is probably a close second to that, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. Hopefully, like I don't know how much more insight or say they're going to say in other projects as well, involving any other developers that they have. But I think their main focus was going to be the anime, manga, and From Software from that deal.
So do you think that this is going to lead to anything, or do you think it's just a precursor, or?
I don't know if it's a precursor to anything. It sounds like they're going to be a bit like both entities are happy, just kind of like, okay, well, this is a more mutual. We're not outright buying, we're not being outright bought out, but we don't have to worry about someone else coming in and buying us out either, because the huge investment they just had from Sony, and so they're going to still have a lot more agency and freedom to do what they want. But it is more likely going to have Sony have some say in a lot of they do going forward. Again, they don't have all the pull, but they'll definitely have some to have something come through the pipelines. Again, I'm thinking they might get an exclusive or two to the PlayStation, at least timed anyway.
Okay. And are you disappointed? Are you in the camp where you're disappointed they didn't buy the whole company, or are you content?
I'm actually kind of happy they didn't. I don't want Sony to own Kadokawa and From Software.
Same.
I'm honestly just tired of so many fucking corporation requisitions and everything at this point.
Yeah.
It's just, come on, man.
Ditto.
Like they're becoming monopolies. I don't want that. So, yeah, I'm glad that it didn't go through, and I'm glad that they won't have as much power over what and say what they have to do in projects going forward. Because again, there have been some decisions I don't like that Sony's made.
Yeah.
In the past couple years.
Plenty of decisions they made.
Yeah. So Zakeda, what are your thoughts on this before I give mine?
I mean, just having my ear to the ground as much as I can, like on the industry and just like the economics that are going on behind the scenes with a lot of these companies. I also am glad that it didn't turn into a complete buyout. I think this is probably the best outcome we could have hoped for, barring them completely being bought out. So, I do want to see more From Software stuff on Nintendo platforms. It is my personal belief, and this is my own personal, opinion, that I don't have any industry insider leaks or anything about, what's going to be on the Switch 2 in terms of software that's going to be offered as launch software. But I do strongly feel that we're going to see Elden Ring, at least a port of the base game, onto the Switch 2. The Switch 2 should be more than capable enough of handling it. Elden Ring has performance issues and optimization issues as it is, especially on PC. So I think if you get the right dev team to port it over to the Switch, I mean, we got to get our first hands and see what's going to happen. But I definitely think that this was a good thing, because I feel like if Sony would have bought them outright, we probably wouldn't see any cooperation with Nintendo. But it looks like Sony will play nice with Nintendo, especially because Nintendo's so popular in Japan. So we'll see. But I definitely think that this is the best outcome we could have hoped for in terms of this acquisition not fully going through.
Yeah. Yeah, my thoughts on it are similar. I mean, 'cause they are now the largest single shareholder, but it's still only 10%. And so what I think I don't think this is like gonna get any exclusives. I think that what this does is it basically puts Sony like at the door, so things kind of run through them. So they'll basically become the solutions to problems. So basically, if they're like, oh, we want to make an Elden Ring movie, Sony's like, well, I mean, we have movie studios. They're like, oh, we want to make this anime thing. They're like, well, we have Crunchyroll, so basically it's a way to kind of funnel projects through Sony where they may have otherwise went to, someone else, Paramount, or,
That's actually owned by Sony.
yeah. Oh, is it now? They bought, did they do?
Who told me? Was that you,
They've owned
Villain?
Paramount forever.
Who
Did they
told me that
secure
Sony
that?
also owns a part of Discord too? I think it was
I did.
Villain that
Yeah,
told
they
me
own-
that.
They
Yeah.
they own they bought like 40% of Discord. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's another huge thing that Sony's got their hands in too.
Mhm.
Yeah, but basically it makes Sony kind of probably the go-to for any kind of, spin-off third party. You need music.
Mhm.
Sony has music studios. You need this, so it's really just going to put them in a position. And yeah, they maybe
Yeah.
can put their thumb on the scale of certain
They've
stuff,
built
but I
a
don't think
nice
this gets-
deck for themselves.
Yeah,
sure.
but I don't think this gets Bloodborne 2. I don't think this gets
No.
anything
Anything we
exclusive
actually
on
want?
Sony.
Yeah. Anything
Yeah,
we actually want?
yeah.
No. We won't get that.
I think I think this is actually very boring of a purchase. I think that or it turned out to be. It was interesting when the
The rumors
initially
are
you
going
thought they were
on.
going to buy the whole. Well, you thought they were going to buy the whole thing. That was like, holy crap. Okay, but it turned out to
more
just
like
be
I
kind of
felt like my stomach sink when I heard that. I was like, "Fuck, not again! Not another major corporate merger acquisition." Sick of it
Yeah.
at this point.
yeah. and
Microsoft
it's-
fucking did enough damage to the gaming industry by buying all the fucking
Yeah.
studios they
Well,
could.
Yeah, and we're gonna get into that with the next topic, but I don't really like exclusives either. And so if they bought, and
Exclusives
Sony
Are dying.
is an
That's-
exclusive company, because if you're in the console
Mm,
space, you kind of have to be. But
nothing's
like,
truly
if they-
exclusive anymore.
if they did buy From Software, you bet your fucking ass the next fucking game would be exclusive to,
It'd be
to
exclusive.
PlayStation. Yeah, absolutely. The only exception to that has been Bungie, and that's because Bungie is a princess and they negotiate their own terms when they get bought. And
Sony's putting all of their games on PC though. Everything's a timed
Well,
exclusive.
after
Not
a year-
everything.
Yeah, not
They'll put
Almost
everything.
everything.
I don't have Demon
Almost
Souls.
everything.
I don't got fucking Bloodborne on PC. They'll give me the games I want.
Yeah,
And even when they do, it's a year later. They've indicated. I do think that one day we'll see day and date Sony exclusives come to PC, but they've indicated that they have no intention of doing that.
Yeah.
So you still have to wait a year. You still have to wait.
Oh.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's
Yeah.
I'm glad it didn't happen either, because again, Sony is an exclusive fucking beast.
Yeah. And
Sony's going to be.
And,
Sony's the only company that's poised to reap in all of the console sales from GTA 6.
Well,
GTA 6 is going to be a PS5 Pro money printer for Sony because that's the only system you're going to be able to play that on.
And I mean, this isn't my forte at all, but they would have pretty much a monopoly on anime if they had bought this whole company. I mean, because they have Crunchyroll,
have.
they
Right.
have Funimation, they have all this stuff
Mhm.
in the anime sphere too, and much to people's chagrin as well. They hate that shit because Crunchyroll's not that great, from what I understand.
Not
nah,
anymore.
it's gotten shitty, and when it comes down to it, is localizers. A lot of brazen localizers like to go on Twitter hey, look how I went ahead and didn't interpret this right and just made it wherever the fuck I want because fuck the weebs. And then there's actually talks of some companies be yeah, so if you want to do this, we're just gonna use AI to translate stuff for us. And you cannot have a job. And well, it's so unfair. Well, you shouldn't be doing what you're doing and then bragging about it on the internet, you stupid.
Yeah.
But I do want to piggyback off what you said about kind of having this kind of make it where a lot of stuff from Kadokawa goes through Sony, and how we bring up studios and music studios and everything like that. That's how it's basically going to be for their manga and their anime and stuff. They're basically going to be a publisher for Kadokawa going forward.
Yeah, they're gonna be. I mean, they're gonna have all these diversified,
Media,
revenue streams and media. Yeah, you're gonna
Mhm.
see Sony's name on all kinds of shit. I mean, you already do,
Yeah.
but it's gonna be just expand.
It's gonna be more now.
Happen, yeah. Whenever you buy a soundtrack to your favorite anime or put on Spotify, it's gonna have Sony music on it.
Sony Music. Gotta
Yeah, all
have
kind
that Sony.
Which I mean, more power to him. I mean, I don't give a fuck who's making the money, really, as long
Mhm.
within reason, as long as it's on everything and I have good access to it.
Right.
But yeah, I think you had a lot of PlayStation warriors out there before this actually got finalized. All kinds of like,
100%. They're
yeah,
so
boy, we
fucking
got
rabid out there.
more. Yeah,
there's-
take that Xbox. We got.
Yeah, there's actually
It's
like a
so
quote like that. Hold
cringe.
on. Like some comment like being like, "Oh, I wanted this to go through so bad. I wanted all the exclusives on PlayStation. PC's fine though." It's like, okay, so you just shit on like Xbox. Like this whole war stuff.
They do.
Dude. It's not the
They
90s
do.
anymore. Like who fucking cares? Play on what you
the
want.
console wars now is worse. It's worse than it was in the 90s. It's actually worse in some ways.
It's because we have Twitter now, right? Like that's
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
Twitter's just
amplified.
Twitter, so
You had to
Yeah,
have the
there's so
console
many
wars on
people.
the playground, and you could get your ass beat on the playground.
Yeah, true. You had to be ready to you had to be ready to stand on business when it came to the console wars in the 90s. You had to stand on business. You had to actually you had to go out to the playground and actually like duke it out if you really wanted to go against an N64 guy or a PlayStation dude. So
you had to throw fists for Master Chief. You had to be ready to put up hands for the chief. For the chief, and
yeah, but for those 90s kids though on the playground, what made you a king didn't matter what you played on. You came out with some Mortal Kombat fatality codes. Oh yeah,
my
be able to do
God.
those fatalities on your Sega.
just
And
the
have it watered
rumor
down
mill
on your
in
Super
school.
Nintendo.
I remember being in school and just remember everyone just lying off their ass about different rumors about different games. I remember especially Pokemon, like, oh, if you get this, use this item here, and the ship is going to show up, and then it's going to be able to take you to Mewtwo Island. Oh my God. There's so many
if you
people
move
that
the
just
truck,
lied.
you get Mew.
Yeah, the move the truck one. Oh my God. Core
Move the
memory
truck and you get
unlocked.
Mew,
Jeez. Yeah, so that shit is crazy, but
yeah, well, without
yeah.
instant access to Google and shit, I mean, shit was way more esoteric. You could just make stuff up about.
Oh, yeah,
games.
no,
Like
you
I
do
remember.
not know.
I mean,
so
I'm a little younger
many
than you guys,
things.
but like I was kind of at the tail end of that, where like you could make up, even like in the early kind of 360 days,
Couldn't fact check
late OG
shit.
Xbox. Yeah, like you
No.
could just make shit up about things.
You really
like I
could.
remember Oblivion. There's stuff I was told. I had a friend who we all loved Oblivion, of course, and he he told me all kind of shit that I
Just wasn't there.
never found. Yeah, it just wasn't in there. Because there was stuff that was like the replication glitch with like the bow and arrow and stuff. I don't know if you guys ever played Oblivion
That's like
to that
a
level, but
Bethesda
there was
glitch
stuff.
thing,
yeah, and it just I don't know. It was a cool time though. I do
Yeah,
miss that time.
it was-
but
It was a very different kind of innocent
Yeah.
time, even though we're talking about people being deceitful.
yeah, but I mean, if you wanted a console war, you had to make sure you were doing your push-ups too. So
I
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
care. Like
absolutely.
I played anything like I do now. I'm not really bought to one thing. I haven't owned an Xbox in years since the 360.
Yeah.
I buy a Nintendo console because I can only play Nintendo games on that when I want to play Nintendo. So
There's only two real
Yeah.
generations of console wars that I remember where people were really, really adamant and really passionate, and that was the 16-bit Super Nintendo Sega Genesis console war,
32-bit era.
and the 32-bit era with the N64 and the
Yeah.
PlayStation 1. And there were
Yep.
very valid reasons for
Oh.
both. They were completely different consoles that had different marketability towards different demographics and had different style games completely.
Yeah,
The
well,
Sega
everyone
Genesis was
used
wildly
Nintendo.
different than the Super Nintendo.
Oh,
And so
then-
was the Nintendo 64 and the PlayStation 1. So they were so different. They couldn't be anywhere different.
no.
I mean, I don't know,
Just-
man. I mean, the 360 versus PS3 was probably, I think, the last kind of real console war.
Yeah,
That was,
I
to
want to
me,
say
that was a proper war. They had different types of games. It was everything you just described also applied to the 360 and the PS3.
well, the thing was
architecture was different.
when the PlayStation
They
2
had,
came out, the PlayStation 2 kind of ended the
Mhm.
console war per se in the early 2000s. The PlayStation 2 was undoubtedly the best console to have any time from the year 2000 up until like the 2005 when the Xbox 360 came out. Like there was no reason to have a GameCube. There was no real reason to have an Xbox. But both of those systems were really good, and everyone I knew at that time all started with a PS2, and they all eventually got like a GameCube or an Xbox as like a periphery console. Probably because they wanted a specific game, whether it was Nintendo or whether it was Xbox. Halo being the killer app on the Xbox, and I think Super Smash would be considered the killer app for the GameCube. But then
that or possibly a Mario game.
The GameCube didn't sell well.
The
GameCube
didn't
really
didn't sell well, but the GameCube is looked back
had a lot of
on
games.
as
Yeah.
the GameCube aged the best out of that generation. It really did.
Well, the GameCube is the Woodstock of game consoles, right? Like it's only 10,000 people went, but like 20 million people went, right? Like
That's
everyone's like,
funny
I had a
analogy.
GameCube, but it actually only sold like so little. You know, it's hey, I never had one. I'm not gonna have stolen GameCube valor. But it was a cool thing. My friend had one. Listen. I think the GameCube controller is the stupidest controller, other than like
People
PS3
love that.
controller.
It's a very revered controller.
I love my game
I know
controller.
everyone does, and I fucking hate it. I think it's the
It's-
worst controller. It's so stupid.
I
Like,
have
it's so dumb.
It's not the best, but I love it mainly just because that's the only way to play Smash in my opinion. Like it's the
Yeah,
most comfortable.
I
makes
bought
the
a
most
GameCube
sense out of
controller
any
just for
way
that.
else.
True.
Nope.
Okay, so it's a controller that only plays one game well.
That's good for only one game, but it's great for that one game.
It's good for a lot
I
of
rest
Switch
my
games.
case.
I mean, a lot of GameCube games,
rest my
but
case.
it is very, very good for Smash. So good that people
Yeah.
will continue to use that exact controller for
Yeah,
modern consoles. So
yeah. When we whip out the Smash tournaments, I mean, I use the GameCube controller for it too.
of
the
course.
attachment. Yeah, it's
Only
good for
one
that,
play.
but it is still the stupidest controller. I would not play anything else with it.
It is dumb in a lot of other ways. I will grant you on that, but
It's
when it comes to
plastic.
Smash,
It's cheap feeling. It's pretty bad.
They definitely
But,
there was a lot of thought put into that controller if people really love it that much for that game. And obviously Super Smash Brothers, even if it was the killer app, it's not like the biggest app for the it actually might be. I don't know what game sold the most on the
that's a
GameCube.
console seller,
But
man. Like
It
anytime
definitely
I
did
buy a
sell a lot of
Nintendo game-
consoles. And everyone I
Yeah,
know that
anytime I
looks
buy a
back
Nintendo
on
console,
yeah, they all look
It-
back
it's
at
for
that and they're
Smash.
like, yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah, anytime I buy consoles for Smash or Zelda,
Yep.
that's it. Maybe Mario. I'm like, I like Mario. Fine. I'm more of a Zelda guy.
See, yeah, like Wind Waker, when that game came out, everyone hated on that game. Hey, GameCube is such a kiddie console, and look, they're making Zelda for babies, and it's like,
Oh,
and you know,
Yeah,
and you're
it
like,
looks
and
like
I'm
it
like
does
a
have its own
teenager at the
problems,
time.
too.
It's so hard to be like, you know, a teenager coming of age and like having to defend playing the baby Zelda game, you know. So of course you're gonna gravitate towards like the Xbox 360, and that's where I was going
So
when I was saying like that GameCube, Xbox, PS2 era was like almost like a truce. It was almost like an armistice of the console wars. Like everyone acknowledged the PS2 superiority, and then it kind of
just
died
sold the
off.
most.
Then Xbox came out with the 360, and that was kind of like that was kind of like a shot in the dark. Like the 360 had it had so much momentum, and it was actually a pretty bad console, like hardware wise. It was just so prone to failure, bad QA.
Yeah, the Red Ring.
You know, but it had the software, and they were able to convince like Japanese developers to put, you know, exclusives on there. We got all basically really nothing that the PlayStation had at the time. And then on top of that, releasing the PlayStation 3 for $700 back in 2006 or whatever was a really bad choice in hindsight. But
Save your bars on the Xbox. We're gonna get into that in just a second, but I do have some numbers for you.
Well, I'm talking about Xbox being alive. You're going to be talking about something else. So,
no. We're gonna get it.
all right.
The GameCube sold 21 million units.
It didn't sell nothing. 21 million is a lot.
That's
but when
nothing.
you look at
the
it,
original
First of
Xbox
all-
sold 24 million units.
yeah, so it sold 3 million more units than the GameCube.
Yeah, but that's
And then
not
the
in terms
PS2
of
sold
console
like
sales.
250 million.
Yeah.
No,
160
it didn't sell
million,
that. I was gonna say
I know,
160.
I
You
was
gave it
wrong.
another
It was
100 million
very
out of
high
nowhere.
number.
Very generous.
Yeah.
Very high numbers. Okay,
console.
very high numbers. So yeah, it was
How
but
much did the Wii U? The Wii U sold
the Wii U 14 million, I
about
think.
14
Oh,
million,
13?
Yeah,
Okay.
13.5.
Yeah, no, the Wii U is considered a
It was
massive
considered a
failure.
catastrophic
But the
failure.
Wii U
And so,
also came out in 2014. You know, the GameCube came out in 2001. The
Well, I'm just saying
demographics
this,
were way
like,
different.
this narrative that the GameCube was this like super popular, like great selling. It did
I wouldn't
okay.
say it was a super popular, great selling, but it wasn't
okay.
wasn't as massive of a failure as people like to claim it was.
It's like
And-
Nintendo's second worst
And
selling
out of
console.
all the consoles in that generation, it aged the best. Look at any GameCube game right now on eBay. They're going for hundreds of dollars. The software,
Unless it's a collection,
GameCube
right?
collecting is
Doesn't mean they
insane.
aged
Yeah,
those. Yeah, the N64
The game-
sold
well,
32 million.
it does. Well, it did age the best because if you look at the emulation scene for the GameCube as well, it's the best
Oh.
emulation scene like out there.
So I think, let's look at the regular, because I think that makes the GameCube a very close contender for the second, almost the worst selling console that Nintendo's ever done. The Wii U is the only
The
one
Wii
below it.
U is the worst, and I think the GameCube is the second lowest. I think the
Well,
N64 sold 60 million.
Yeah,
And
it's
if you
all
want to count the
because
Virtual Boy,
stupid
then
controller.
that's also like the second worst. If you,
I
wanna
don't-
count
I
that.
don't
I
think.
don't count
Yeah, no
that.
one
That
really
was
counts the
more-
Virtual Boy. I had one
that's
too.
more of a that's more of a peripheral kind of.
It was
they
supposed
tried
to
to
be
make
a
it a
mobile
console. Yeah,
It was
Yeah.
a portable. And it
It
wasn't portable. You'd look stupid walking around with that thing on your
Yeah,
face.
I'm looking at it now. Yeah, oh my god, this was before my time too. But
That was portable, bro. And oh man, those red and black graphics. Mwah, oh, so great to burn your retinas.
alrighty,
Yeah.
Well, I think that closes out. Did you have any final thoughts, either of you, on the Katakawa purchase or?
I'm done.
anything
I said
like
what I
that?
want to do.
yeah. Nah, I mean,
It all needs to be said.
No more.
a little bit
is
shaking and moving in the industry, but that's about it.
I ain't got that dog in me no more.
I ain't got a dog in this fight.
I done let
Yeah.
him go. I done let him go. All right, so we'll
Yeah,
move
I'm
on
just,
to topic 2 then, I suppose. This was my topic. So to set it off, ever since the Activision Blizzard buyout a couple of years ago, Xbox has been slowly eroding their position as a traditional competitor in the console wars. Firstly, by not taking games or companies they buy exclusive, but now by indicating in interviews that there are no red lines to exclusivity, meaning we could see Forza, or yes, even Master Chief, gracing the PlayStation 5. Many speculate this is Microsoft throwing in the towel on traditional hardware strategies in a bid to become merely a publisher, while many die-hard fans hope that it's a 4D chess move that will lead to Xbox dominance and the securing of their hardware for generations to come. Since this is my topic, I guess I'll kick it off.
Yeah.
And I come at this from the perspective of, if we haven't noticed from the last conversation, or at least I used to be. I'm an Xbox kid. Like, I've always been an Xbox kid. When I was a young kid, I really wanted a PS2, but according to my mother anyway, the Xbox was cheaper, so that's what I got. And I was very disappointed with that. Like, very upset, but I got that, and then I got Morrowind with it, and I just sat there, and then Knights of the Old Republic as well. And I played those two games.
Good
yeah,
shit.
dude, and I fell in love. I was like, fuck everything else on that PS2. This is what got me.
Is that what
And
got you into
so-
RPGs?
No, Baldur's Gate 1 did on the PC.
Okay.
Yeah, I
That's
was like
crazy.
9.
That Baldur's
Yeah,
Gate
I
1
was-
got you
yeah.
into RPGs.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 were the
That's an
first
origin
real
story
game.
if I've ever heard
Man.
one.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy too, because that was based off of D&D 3, I think, and those pretty
Yeah.
hardcore
It's 80,
rules.
yeah.
That's pretty. Yeah, it's pretty
very
hardcore. Yeah,
hardcore.
exactly.
Dude. I was 9 years old, playing Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. And really loved that shit. Those were like the first real games I played. Of course, I played like Pokemon and things like that. But
baby games.
Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, yeah, baby games. But the first like grown
playing
man,
my manly real
game.
RPGs.
Yeah, my first grown man game was Baldur's Gate 1
grown
and
man
2.
game.
And the first Baldur's Gate, I had the 6-disc version of it. Actually, it was on 6 discs.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
to swap them out. Yeah. Eventually, I got
Wow.
the 8-disc version. But yeah.
It was like 3.5s?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh wait, no. It was not 3 point. It was disc. Sorry, I don't know why my mind blanked out. No, it
Like
was just a
CD
CD-ROM.
discs.
Oh, CD. Oh, okay.
I was
okay.
gonna,
Yeah.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
it wasn't floppy.
Baldur's Gate 1
Yeah.
on 6 floppies, that's like, I don't know, 20 megs?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's like 1.2
No.
megs per
No.
floppy.
Yeah,
It took me a minute.
it's, yeah.
Like my brain had to remember that floppy disks were a thing.
Yeah. And the funny thing is that what we called floppy disks weren't even floppy disks. They were floppier disks before that.
They were the successors to the real floppy disks.
That's
Yep.
hilarious. That's
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I was
Remember zip drives? Oh, I remember those discs.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, I was an Xbox kid, and so ever since that day, and I thought the PS3 was a stupid console. I thought the controller sucked. It did. The controller objectively
It's the
was
same
trash
one
for the
that they've
PS3.
had. They didn't
No,
do
the
anything
PS4
to the
controller's
PS3.
different.
The PS4
well, the
is different. The
PS3 controller
PS3 is
is
not. PS3 is almost
Yeah,
the
the
same
PS
as the PS2 controller.
Yeah, and they were both trash. And they had like, well, yeah,
They're
and the
just trash.
Xbox controller was
Straight trash.
so good. The 360 controller and the 360 console, I think there's nothing that the PS3 was doing that was better than the 360 at the time. Like, I mean, people would point to like The Last of Us or whatever, but I mean, the 360 had Halo, it had Gears, it had Mass Effect.
360
it had
had
Dragon
the fucking
had-
software.
BioShock was a fucking exclusive.
It had
to
the
Xbox
ecosystem
360.
too. The whole Xbox Live ecosystem felt so like just well put together on the 360. The dashboard, the communication tools, everything just felt so nice.
It had avatars. It had. I think the 360 is one of the best looking consoles as well. I think it's like probably I'd put it in the top 2 best looking consoles. I think it was just fantastic. But
I thought it was ugly as fuck, but it grew on me.
all of that. That's how I feel about the PS5. But
yeah, I do too.
all of
Actually,
that-
about the PS5.
all that to say, I'm coming at this. I understand the plight of the Xbox fan today, is all I'm saying. And I do think that it is a bit sad that they're kind of just throwing in the towel and like, because they kind of
The writing's on the wall.
They kind of eased into. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think they could pull it back if they. I mean, if they own enough stuff now that I think if they like boot to the throat, I think they could claw back enough.
They can't. They can't. Game Pass killed their console. Game Pass is going to kill consoles in general.
But yeah, I think there's a chance. I think anything's possible, right? But I would like to see that. That might be wishful thinking, but hey, it's done because they've pretty much accepted that it's done, and so that's the world in which we live.
It's their marketing strategy and their business strategy going forward is to.
And I think it's a bad one.
It could be, but they're all in.
I think
they're
that
all
the
in.
whole like
everything's an Xbox, man. Didn't you know? Didn't they tell you?
Yes. Well, that's what I'm getting.
Everything's an Xbox.
But yeah,
your toilet is an Xbox.
Yeah, but
your bidet,
that's what I'm getting to. I think that's
internet connected bidet.
Basically, what they're saying is that it's a they're basically becoming a third-party publisher now, and
kind of.
When you say everything's an Xbox, that's like saying everything's an EA game player, right? You play everything on everything. Yeah,
the thing is,
and I think
they're gonna.
And I think the thing that they're
I think they're gonna buy Valve.
You think?
Yeah, because Valve is already shipping SteamOS onto third-party devices, not just the Steam Deck. So I think that Microsoft's is going to. They say that Microsoft's going to make a handheld, but I think that Microsoft is just going to go after Valve. They have the ecosystem. They have the whole thing, the whole storefront. I wouldn't like it at all if that happened, but I think it's gonna.
Well, no, I wouldn't want Microsoft owning Valve because
I would not either.
the best part of Microsoft was always Xbox to me. Like Microsoft as a company, the Windows department, like they fucking suck. Like
They
they
suck.
only
So
exist
true.
through ubiquity. Like they are horrible, and but they've pretty much taken over the Xbox division. They've mandated that, hey, we're going to be a third party publisher now. I don't know what you got to do about all these dudes you have on the console, because they do. They have like, probably like around what, like 40 million users of Xbox, that they kind of have to
Something like that. Yeah.
do something with, because these are people with libraries, these are people with accounts, these are people with buy-in to the ecosystem, and you started off the generation by hardcore committing to consoles by saying we've created the monster that eats monster console, this and this, and then about midway through you're like, well, we're putting it all on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Putting it all on PlayStation, and it is what it is. And so I think that like people kind of do just need to accept. If I was an Xbox owner, I would look into just transitioning over to PC or PlayStation.
Well, that is what's
quite
happening.
honestly.
I mean, you could see that. You could clearly
And,
see that.
Yeah, and it's just you still see people holding on. You still see people thinking that like, oh no, man, listen, they're gonna come out. Sarah Bond said that this next console is gonna be the biggest leap we've ever done. It's like,
I know.
I mean, they say that and I don't think they're making a handheld anytime soon. I think they're gonna launch I do think they're gonna launch a console. It'll probably be in the next year or two, and I think it'll be probably their last one. They'll probably roll it out. If I had to guess, they'll probably do a console reveal, but then they'll kind of show. It'll be more of like an operating system reveal than a console.
Yeah, I was gonna
reveal,
say.
it'll
Yeah,
probably be like, look, this is our new OS. It works across all these devices. Everything's an Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it.
That's
guys.
where I see it going to.
And the thing is like I think that they're trying to have their cake and eat it too, and I just don't think you can. As much as I hate exclusives, that's why you buy a console. Like people oftentimes only have money for one. I mean, people like us, we're privileged positions. Like I think we own everything between all. I have an Xbox, I have a PS5,
I own everything.
a PC, a Switch. I have everything. Right. I'm
I
about to
don't
buy
have
a
an Xbox.
PS5 Pro because I'm a moron.
I don't have PS5 Pro, but I have two PS5s. So
well, I've got someone that I'm gonna sell the PS5 to for cheap because for like their kid or whatever. But yeah, so I think that like we are kind of just witnessing like the death of Xbox, as much as because even Microsoft, they're kind of loath to just admit it, right? They've kind of just slowly been easing it into it, and you got Satya Nadella out there talking about like, no, man, hey, the Master Chief, man, he might end up, and then I think what's his name, Matt Booty, he said that the only thing stopping a lot of the games are like it's just the production lines. Like they don't have it set up for they don't have it set up for PlayStation yet, and so the moment they do, you're just gonna start seeing
I think it's gonna be the exact same reverse situation we're seeing with Sony. Sony's has their exclusives, they're timed, they get released to PC. You're going to see a lot of Xbox, Microsoft exclusive games go to PC and Xbox, and they're eventually, after some time, going to move to the PlayStation. That's going to be how the market is. It's all going to be about timed exclusives. Everything's going to eventually go to all the platforms. The only console that's going to have true exclusives is going to be Nintendo. That's the only platform that's going to have true exclusives.
Yeah. I wish the funny thing is I wish that Sony would do, which they're not going to do this because they want people to double dip, but Microsoft, one thing that they have done that I really like is the Play Anywhere. Like you buy it once and you can play it on PC or console.
Yes.
Because I like the console because I mean I'm mainly a PC gamer these days, but sometimes I just want to kick back on the couch and chill and do that. And I like being able to just like boot up and all my games are there, right? Like I don't, whereas PlayStation, it's like I have a separate camp for that. On the Xbox side, I think it's pretty hit or miss because they have to negotiate those things for the most part. But it is nice that like I can just, on a lot of things on Xbox, I can just sit down and have it there and then move over to the PC and play it there. Problem is, I have to do it through the fucking Xbox PC app, which is dog shit.
It's
But
that's another thing that sucks so bad. That app is
yeah,
so
but
bad.
it's one of those
My
situations.
app lost its icon in Windows. Like it just doesn't have an icon anymore. It's such a bad app.
So
It's so fucking bad. It's
so bad.
It's just like, like the broken image thing when you see in like a web browser when the image URL is broken. That's what it looks like in my Windows installation. It's like, oh, Xbox app, broken image, cool. Totally trust that app.
It's a situation where I think Xbox is really putting the cart before the horse on a lot of stuff that they're doing, because the future that they're kind of pushing for doesn't really exist. And it doesn't really work the way they want, because even within their own ecosystem, not all of their first party games are buy anywhere. Like, I don't think Halo is. I mean, if you have Game Pass, they are. But in terms of actually buying shit,
well, they want you to go Game Pass.
Well, even then
That's
it's
what
not,
they
because
want.
they just put the Hunt Showdown on Game Pass, but only on the console, not the PC.
Yeah, who
'Cause
knows? I have no idea how the licensing works and shit.
Yeah, it's so.
I have no idea.
And they don't have a big enough player base to kind of throw their weight around for a lot of this. So I think that what's going to end up happening is they're going to experiment with a bunch of this shit all next generation, and then probably just move to being a third-party publisher. Like, we're going to, in probably like 5 years, we're going to be talking about, like, you guys remember Xbox? Wasn't that a thing? Y'all remember that? Because I think they may even like get rid of the brand, like it'll just be Microsoft Publishing or whatever the case may be.
No, I think it's just gonna be Game Pass.
That's how I feel about all of this. Is there's not going to be an Xbox brand anymore soon. Probably in the next 5 years, like you said, it's not going to be one. For the sheer fact, the way that they're going about this and approaching it, it's like, okay, so you don't have to have an Xbox to play our console, our games. You don't have to have a PC to play our games. You can play them on anything. Yeah. Isn't that cool? And it's like, who are you marketing to?
Well, it's like, you mean like EA or Activision or any other third-party publisher?
Yeah, and no one else is doing something like that. And again, they have a whole ecosystem with, dedicated people who've been buying into Xbox for many, many, many years, like 20 years almost now, for some people. So I think it's a really bad decision on their part. But at the same time, I don't know what else they can do, because again, part of this is partially to do with because they own so much when it comes to like game developers and stuff, that they have to have it where they can't have everything be exclusive on their console. They just can't, or at least just have time exclusives.
They won't make money. They won't make any money if they do that.
No, but they have to though. Or they're gonna have to like not do that all the time, which is kind of where they got that chokehold. So like them buying Activision Blizzard, and Bethesda, that just like shot themselves in the foot. Not only that, like there's also, I mean, that's just a bigger problem in the industry itself. There's like too many corporations going around and buying too much stuff, and then they're like, yeah, we're gonna make all this stuff, make all this money, and then they don't make any money because they make really poor decisions on all the stuff that's going on. And then they have to close down and lay off people, or close down studios and lay off people and stuff. Like, yeah, I don't think this is going to work, because I also think Xbox sales are pretty fucking low. Like, I don't think many people buy Xboxes these days. So that's probably another reason why they're going. They're probably, again, they're going to go the way of Sega. And again, I don't think Xbox will be a brand anymore. It will just be Microsoft Studios.
I don't even.
Yeah, it will be Microsoft Studios for the gaming developers, but I think ultimately the only brand we're going to see in the future is Game Pass. Game Pass is going to be your Netflix subscription for games. That's it, and that's what Game Pass is. What Xbox is going to be in the future.
I actually disagree with that. I don't think Game Pass survives either.
No, whether or not that's true is a different story. But they are all in on Game Pass. They are all in.
Well, they are.
Microsoft is all in.
They are, but I think that's an issue for them, because they're in this weird problem, because they're number one. Probably 80% of their Game Pass subscribers are Xbox users, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're Xbox console owners, and so you get rid of the Xbox console. Those users,
it's not 1-to-1 conversion.
Yeah, the users that you lose a lot of those, because they're probably going to go to PlayStation. They're probably not going to buy a PC.
They will. No.
Yeah, they're not. You know. And,
no, you're right.
And these same people, as much as Microsoft wants and wishes and hopes and dreams, like people are still a very long way away from like going to streaming games. Like they just don't. People want their native experiences. They want the lag free. They want to sit down and play a game. You know, I think that number is kind of growing for some people. Maybe the portable market is seeing a lot of that. You don't mind streaming them on the go, but when you're home and you want to sit down in front of your TV, I think most people, the type of person who's going to buy a game console, wants that native experience. They're not streaming. And most people don't even have the good enough internet yet. I mean, obviously that's going to improve and change and stuff. But I think that if they kill the console, which it seems like they're doing, they're going to kill Game Pass, because I don't think that conversion is going to happen the way that they hope it will.
I don't think it will either. It'll be really branded as something else.
Yeah, and also I think Game Pass was kind of a it's like an add-on thing, a really good idea, but as a main focus is because people don't play games the way that they watch Netflix. You get a game and you really just dedicate yourself to it a lot of the time. You really just, most people, they're happy buying a game because they're not going to play like a zillion games a month. You have your occasional people, they call them grazers. People just don't seem to play games like that though.
No. Again, like you said, and for a lot of console owners, I mean, they don't even like buy like, you know, all the other games that Microsoft makes. They mainly buy like, you know, FIFA or Madden for their games. Like that's what they buy for, sports games, or you know, I guess Forza. That's the Microsoft Gran Turismo. Yeah, they buy them for those specifically, which I always found kind of odd. Like you're buying it for just one specific thing, but for some people that's all they play. So I guess it makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, if that's all you play and you just want something new, and and it's only like $500 every like 9 years. I mean, it's not like, you know, it's a good investment. You might play something else on it, use it as a DVD player, whatever the case may be. I just think that user just doesn't want to fucking stream. I think they have no interest in subscriptions most of the time. I mean, it's nice to have because it's rolled into your multiplayer. It's like, well, I'm already paying for multiplayer. I may as well, you know, get the Game Pass, or like I have the console, so it's nice to have. But I mean, the moment you kill the console, which they're doing, again, this, let's be clear, despite how much I love X, this is a funeral we're having right now. This is a memorial service.
Yeah.
A preemptive memorial service for Xbox that we're having. We promised it on Twitter, and here we are now. I don't wear my suit, but you know, hey. And so if they're gonna kill the console, I think they kill everything tied to it, and I think they just become Microsoft it's just gonna be a publisher, and we're gonna be like, remember when they made consoles? Just like everyone says Sega, and it is a bit different from Sega just because the landscape's changed, and Microsoft is not Sega. They're a $1 trillion company that can keep making hardware if they want to. They, you know, hey, it's no skin off their back. But I do think that it goes a similar way of Sega eventually. I think they do one more console. Unless that now, if they do one more console and they happen to have a couple of good and it really fucking pops off, I think we see them stay in it for a while, but I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't know how likely that's going to be. Again, unless it's like just the best console ever made.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that would happen.
Yeah, it's really gonna be like
I just feel like that Microsoft, if they did that, if they try to go the Sega route, they're gonna just basically relegate themselves to obscurity, because that's not gonna work. People just aren't gonna convert, like you said. If they get rid of the console and they try to, that's why they're really trying to build up Game Pass. They're trying to get people to convert from this whole this is a de-escalation period that's going on with Xbox right now. They're off-branding. They're off-boarding their brand, and they're trying to get people to go from the Xbox brand to the Game Pass brand. Whether or not that's going to be a successful endeavor, that's probably going to be what that conversion rate is, probably what's going to help them determine what kind of console they're going to release in their next gen.
It's not. I mean, like you can still get you can still download your games onto console and PC. But the way they're doing, you can play it on anything when it comes to mobile stuff. All of that is streaming. We all saw what happened to Google and their endeavor with cloud streaming service with Stadia.
Stadia was a fucking disaster.
It's not. it's not there. It's not ready. Like PlayStation's been trying to do like streaming gaming for a really, really long time. Actually, since the
Nintendo has it
PS3.
too. You can get Resident Evil Village on the Switch, and it will be a streaming version, and it's garbage.
Oh, weird. It sounds bad.
Yeah. No, the internet chip in the Switch is from like 1985.
Oh yeah,
So-
it can barely
You know,
go.
my dial-up here.
Even a
It's-
wired LAN
yeah.
connection on the Switch can't get you like 100 megabits on it. It's crazy.
If you pop
Wow.
open the Switch, you just see like an ant farm in there. Just some dirt.
See some
That's how
hamsters
we used
and
to
like
get- we
miniature
used to
wheels.
those ants with
What's
the-
that Rick and Morty episode with the little mini verses inside the multiverses or whatever? That's what's happening in your
that's great. That's
Switch.
also that Stephen Colbert and our Colbert in that episode. He's really good.
Oh
no,
yeah,
I think that
I remember that.
I
now.
think that the next Xbox, if I had to predict it, I think they're gonna come out. I think it's gonna be really powerful. I think it's gonna be really AI centric. They're gonna fucking talk about AI a lot with it. And no one's
Which is
gonna give a
stupid.
fuck
Playing and all
about it.
that.
AI
and it's
for the
gonna-
UI for the user end is dumb.
And they're gonna hit early, right? They're gonna hit it because they still have a console division, and those guys want to keep their jobs, right? They just
Right.
promoted a guy to I forgot what his name is. They promoted him to head of next generation. I think he was in
Oh.
charge of the Series X. And so I think that like they're gonna come out swinging with the console. Like I don't think it's gonna be a half-assed attempt. I think that it's gonna be super
I
powerful.
don't know, man.
It's gonna be, and because again they want to keep their job, but I think that's gonna be it though. They're gonna be like, all right, well this thing either sells or it doesn't, but we're gonna keep on keeping on with our exclusive strat or lack thereof of exclusive. I think it's not gonna launch with any exclusive games. It might have
Who's
some
gonna
timed
buy it?
exclusive-
Who's gonna fucking buy it? Nobody. Like no one's gonna buy it.
But they're
Xbox
gonna
owners.
try. They're gonna do it. Yeah, I mean, Xbox. The thing is like there's not a small number of Xbox users. It's like 40
No, there's
million.
actually a decent amount.
There's a lot. It's just not enough for a company like Microsoft to care. If a company like I don't know, Ouya, if you remember them, if they had
Oh,
40,
I
they
remember
would still
Ouya.
be. They would be thrilled with 40 million, right? They would be
Right.
completely fine with that, right? But for a company like Microsoft, it's not worth it because Microsoft makes a lot of money and they make a lot of money off Xbox and Xbox sales. They're not hurting. They're not losing money on any of it. They're the top grossing even before Activision purchased. They were doing well. It's just not enough for them. So a lot of the doom and gloom talk around it, is a little hyperbolic because if they were content with what they were making, there would be no problem. But they want more. Shareholders. You got to raise, and so it's like, well,
Infinite growth.
if we can't see a path to that, then we're going to just bow out and do something where we can see a path to growth. And so I think that I think they come out swinging with one. I could be wrong, but based on everything I've seen from the leaks and from what they've said themselves, I think they come out swinging with a pretty, it's going to be a powerful console. It's not going to be like a half-assed thing. It's going to be full of AI. They're going to talk about. They're really going to push Game
I
Pass
hope
with
they
it.
don't put
They'll
Copilot
probably
on the
talk-
stupid fucking console,
They will-
please.
They will. They
They're
will.
going
And it will.
to because like they've
They will.
heavily invested into AI and they're like, oh, it's gonna
Yeah,
make
but
our
that's
console so much
fine. But
better.
they need to fix the products that they have before they add any new fucking half broken features to anything.
Do you not understand how streaming companies work? That's all they fucking do.
I know they
Well, do you
just
remember
shit
the
out
cloud?
crap.
Well,
That's
when
it,
Microsoft
like-
decided they were going to become a cloud company, now they're an AI company. But you remember the cloud stuff, right? Crackdown 3 and all the cloud integration stuff that never went anywhere. Now you back up. All we do with the cloud is we back up our saves. That's
Yep,
it.
that's all it's
Don't do
for.
anything
Yeah.
else.
Saving.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Somebody
There's
say
cloud
that
The
the
cloud
computing
is just
anymore,
somebody
anything like
else's
that.
computer. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be that, and I think that it's going to be more of an operating system reveal than a console reveal. Like the console will be fine again because the Series X, I think between the Series X and the PS5, the Series X is better in every single way as a machine. But it's just there, and I think you're going to see something very similar. It's going to be a badass machine, but it's just going to be like, well, we have this, but also don't worry about this. Worry about Game Pass. Worry about this operating system. Also, hey, I know we have this, but did you know you can play this on your Samsung device?
Right. Yeah.
I know we
Is this
just
good for
got
your
done
iPhone?
revealing this, but do you know you can go pay $70 for this on PlayStation, right? Like, I think that there's going to be a lot of that. is my personal prediction. And I think that like at that point, I mean, I say why bother, but I know why they're bothering. Again, they don't have a small number of users, and they're afraid to let those users go because they will scurry on over to PlayStation. Because PlayStation also has a very good Game Pass competitor now. It's pretty much
with
almost
their
the same
system.
thing. The only thing that it doesn't have that Xbox is day and date, day one stuff. You know, that's it.
I think with different tiers, if you play like the highest tier, you can get some day one stuff on PlayStation. I could be wrong about that, but
No, you get like demos and shit. They don't put yeah, and they don't even guarantee that they'll roll out first party stuff on there. That's really the big drawback. They don't get the first party stuff because
which is
Sony
like the
like to
whole
make-
that'd be the whole point to do it though. Like, it's like I want this, but if you're not going to give me stuff that's new, and
I guess
I don't like.
I have always said that I wish that I was a kid when Game Pass existed as like a poor kid because I did good to have a 360. Like if Game Pass
Right.
existed, oh my fucking god,
It'd have-
I would've
it'd have
solved
Yeah,
English
Game Pass would be
games.
wild.
so many issues. Game Pass would have fucking wild. As a grown ass dude with a job, I only have so much time in the day. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Same.
and to be honest, like with most of that like catalog, I'm like, yeah. I mean, it's cool, it's
Yeah.
there, but yeah.
yeah.
There's
So,
definitely
you know-
games on Game Pass that I want to spend a lot of time with, but it's like I just don't have the time. I just don't have the time to do it. But I did lock in 2 years of Game Pass Ultimate for like $100, and I will say,
Yeah. I mean,
probably the
I
best
have
$100
Game
I
Pass.
ever fucking spent.
I
You know,
do
locking
have-
in that
yeah.
price for 2 years, that's a fucking steal.
I have it because I play on
I
Xbox.
got to play
have
fucking
friends that
Indiana
play-
Jones day one, fucking Black Ops 6 day one. Right there, my money was made back. So
And I think Game Pass is. I do think it's a great service. Like it's fantastic. I just think that it's not very sustainable with like the way that they're going. If they kept it again, if they really, it needs exclusives. I mean, that's the thing. As much as I hate exclusives, I really do. I've always been a proponent of put everything everywhere.
except
right?
Indiana Jones
But-
is an exclusive technically
If
right now,
you're-
and it's not doing well.
For now, yeah, but it's gonna move over to PlayStation. But like,
And then it's gonna do amazingly.
Yeah.
It's gonna sell like fucking hotcakes.
but you gotta. It's like chicken and egg, right? It's you gotta build it, and then they come. It's not. Well, they're not coming, so we're not gonna build it, right? So it's one of them situations where if you're gonna entice people over, it's gotta be you have something that the other person doesn't have. Otherwise, why are they gonna come? And if you're not gonna have exclusives, if you're not gonna and good ones, because that's the problem. Xbox has had exclusives. It's just all been garbage. You had Redfall, Crackdown 3.
Oh,
Halo Infinite was really good. I'll defend the fuck out of that game. But it
isn't
didn't
Stalker
move the
2
needle.
considered kind of like an Xbox exclusive, even though it's on PC?
It's 3 months. 3 months. But that's the thing too. If it's only a few months, people know I'll just wait. Right? I'll just
Right.
wait.
Well,
you
yeah, the
gotta
key
have
behind the
something-
timed exclusive is you can't tell people how long they're gonna
Yeah.
wait. Like the Final Fantasy timed
Yeah.
exclusives, they're like, oh, it's only gonna be a year. No, it was like 2 years almost.
And the thing is like
about a year.
the
Year
thing
and a
is Xbox fans will argue with you all day long that no, you don't have to have exclusives. But the two people who are winning the most, Nintendo
Have
and
exclusives.
Sony, what do they do? What are they doing? Especially
Have
Nintendo.
exclusives.
You will never, ever see Pokemon, Mario,
Mhm.
Zelda on anything other than a Nintendo console. Maybe one day PC. Maybe.
No,
Maybe.
I don't ever see that.
But
They did
ever
it. They
happening.
did
Nintendo's
Mario
like
Kart on
very
mobile.
fierce
Yeah,
with their IP.
That's
They
like
don't
a,
like it.
that's like a 0.0001% chance. But it will never be on a PlayStation. Never be on an Xbox. Sony, hey, they're not Nintendo, so they got to put it on PC. But you'll never see The Last of Us on Xbox. You'll never see God of War on Xbox. You'll never see, And if Xbox, I'm going to tell you, if Xbox comes out with this thing people think they're going to do, where it's like, you can play your Steam games on an Xbox. So therefore, PlayStation will shut that down quick. Like, nope, you can't play The Last of Us on there. Sorry.
Mhm.
Because you can't opt in and out of that, from what I was looking into.
Yeah.
So you still won't be able to play Last of Us on your Xbox, even if they go that route. Because the Xbox fans are also like, see, we're gonna be able to play it because it's just gonna be a PC. It's like, no, you won't.
Nope.
Because on
They have
Steam
to
you
play
can, on the back end, developer back end, you can dictate the use cases for that shit. So
Yeah.
and
Same thing as
they'll
with,
pull
like,
it. I think they would pull it.
well,
from
that's a little
Steam. I think they
shitty.
would
That's not
fucking-
cool.
I think they would pull it because their games don't do well on Steam. Like they just don't because it's a different audience. Like PC people really don't give a fuck about The Last of Us. They don't give a fuck about God of War. I think they give a fuck about Days Gone apparently. They don't really care about
And Helldivers.
Yeah, Helldivers.
Helldivers was huge on PC.
And Final
and I think Ghost of Tsushima did really well as well. But
yes,
that's it. The big tentpole Sony franchises, Days Gone and Ghost of Tsushima are the only two that did numbers. Even Spider-Man.
I think
did
a lot of people are just fucking sick and tired of The Last of Us. You know,
Last of Us did badly. God of War didn't do great. And so
Last of Us when it launched was like an abysmal port. Like it just ran like dog shit. So
that's what I heard too. I heard it. Yeah, it had performance issues.
I think it's also overrated by Sony fans. I think Sony fans are the only ones
so
that
too.
think The Last of Us is as good as
I liked it as a story. The game was fine for the most part. But the story was really, really good. Like that's the only reason why to play it. But now there's the HBO show, so you can just watch that, I guess.
Yeah, I like The Last of Us 2 better than the first one, but I mean not by much. But they're both fine. Like
I like half of that game.
You like the Ellie half?
Yeah, the stuff with Abby, dude, all that shit. Oh my god, it just felt like it was just.
Well, the problem with it,
the community is divided. Was not a likable
character, and
just repeats.
Like none of those people with Abby's team or group was like likable characters, except the Rico Suave guy, and he died super early, which made me super sad. I'm like, dude, he was like the best one, and he like died immediately.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think the whole like Rian Johnson subvert expectations bullshit just sucks in general. Especially when they do it in video games too.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless,
some people are like,
well, I don't want to get too much into it because we don't want to spoil it for people that haven't played it. But I like 2 better than 1. I had no issue with what happened in the beginning of the second one. I thought that was fine. I thought it was great actually.
I thought I didn't see anything about that. Like I stayed out of that controversy where that's the script leaked and everything, and I didn't know. I didn't know when it happened. Like it was oh shit for me. I was like, oh my god, really? This is happening?
Yeah, me too. I didn't care. I love shit like that. I love I'm a huge Game of Thrones guy.
Play it safe. They didn't play it safe. Yeah. That was actually a pretty bold move.
I think the only problem with The Last of Us 2 is they tell the story. So they'll tell the story on one path, and then you replay the same story on the other path, just from a different way, and it's like, oh my god, we just did this. And it's just not as good. Abby's not as good. I mean, it has issues, but I think as a game, it's better than the first one.
Yeah, I guess so. The shooting mechanics feel a lot better.
Yeah. But anyway, this is the Microsoft thing, but
I know. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's good. No, hey, I took us down that path because
don't worry. We're gonna make tons of clips of Last of Us 2 rants. How we have the biggest hot takes. We're gonna clip it all. It's all gonna be on our YouTube shorts.
Oh yeah.
Don't worry.
But yeah. So. I guess that's it. I mean, like I said, we're gathered here today to say goodbye to Xbox. Of course.
I was gonna say it's very funeral tones right there.
Thank you for your service, Xbox.
The prognosis is not great.
Yeah. So
I
mean,
sad. It's an end of an era. The writing's on the wall.
That's why I started with this, like saying that I was always an Xbox kid, and so it is kind of sad for me to see him go because hey man, them 360 you could make an argument for it being the best console ever made. I think the only 2 consoles would be the
I would
PS2
say it's one of the most fun consoles I've ever had was the 360 for sure.
Like
I played so many Rock Band. I had a Kinect. I did so many family time games with that. Not even just like as a personal gamer, but like that console I have so many countless memories with family with that console, pictures, like everything. Just we had so much fucking fun on that console. So it was definitely a big W for Microsoft, but that's magic in the bottle that they're never going to recapture, unfortunately.
Nope.
And it was all murdered. It was murdered by
It was all murdered.
It was by the Xbox One reveal.
TV.
That was, dude, I went back and rewatched that a while back I was like,
TV.
Yeah, you want your TV on your console and a TV with a TV and all the TV? It's gonna be.
Someone had a super cut of how many fucking times they said TV in that reveal, and it was bad.
It was so bad.
And that's all he focused on. It's like, yeah, you get your TV and your console. It's like, dude, I have a TV.
Yeah.
I get a cable box. I don't need this to be my fucking cable box.
I really wonder,
so
like, they look
bad.
at that writing of like how they're gonna do this, and like someone's like actually like, yeah, this is really good. This is gonna hype up the crowd, and everyone's just like, what the fuck?
And then they're
Everyone's
like,
so
oh yeah, you guys
cringed
love
out.
DRM? You guys love DRM? Oh, well, we got DRM. You got to keep your shit on 24 hours a time. If you don't, you're going to lose your connection. You're going to lose your games if you're not connected to the internet. Don't you love that? Don't you love us taking your money?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that reveal was the biggest meme thing in gaming up until the Diablo Immortal thing that happened at BlizzCon.
I remember that. That was
Like
Guys
don't have
that was
phones?
that was yeah. You guys don't have phones? Yeah, that was like the biggest the biggest meme in the gaming space up until that fucking moment.
I
There
went
was-
straight to the guy asking the question, like, is this an early April Fool's joke?
Yeah, I love that. To this day, I'll fucking watch that.
That was
I'll
good.
get a
was
kick
good.
out of it. What
There was
fucking
also
wild
that,
times that was.
There's also that Don Matrick quote where they're like, well, what if people can't afford a Xbox One? He's like, well, we have a console for you. It's called the 360.
you poor. Let's go on that old
Yeah.
generation. Get out of here, you peasant.
ass. Yeah, you're brokey ass. And
Time for you to
I'll
go
get you
down
a
to the Goodwill and
360,
pick up a Red Ring
At
of
that-
Death system.
which was at the time
Jesus.
a 9-year-old console when he said that
Yep.
too.
Yep.
Like
You get the
with no
hand-me-down.
upgrades. Yeah, you had the Elite, but it still had the same power.
Yeah, I did have the Elite.
The best thing about the
Xbox
leaks is
360.
that it increased the storage capabilities.
Yep,
That was
they
the
had a
nicest
nice
thing
big
about it.
fat hard drive on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's
It was,
weird, though. Like
it was a great console.
the reason every single generation since like the PS2, or really kind of late PS2, companies are just convinced that console gaming's dead. Like every time a new one's coming out, and
Nintendo's
so
not.
That's why you see these choices every generation, and it makes me almost second guess this next generation, because it's like, are we just caught up in the same like consoles are dead? Because it's the same doom and glooming. You have a console. When every time a console launch, it's sold out, record sales, people are going crazy for the new consoles. It's fucking, people are still like, this one has more teraflops and this and this. But then like you get kind of towards the later half of it, and then suddenly it's like, well, console gaming's dead, guys, mobile and PC and this and this, and it's like, and so then you have these consoles come out, and it's the same thing over and over again. That's why like the older, like the PS4 and the Xbox One went with like the Jaguar the processors and shit, because they just had no faith in the fucking console sales. They're like, well, this shit's dying, so we're not going to put that much. Because we talk about the Xbox One, but the PS4 was released cheaply and underpowered as well, because they were like, I don't know, man, we'll see if these kids still want consoles. And it turns out the kids
They
still
do.
did want
I bought one.
consoles. Yeah.
Wait,
so,
They
made me buy a
absolutely the fuck
PS4 was Bloodborne.
yeah, that's why we got
Mm-hmm.
a pros on them too, because they're like, oh shit, well we need some more power because we kind of fucking skimped out on this shit. Because both, and they did that, like, so people are just like, every single console generation, they're just worried it's going to be the last, and people just don't want them. So I'm wondering if maybe there's a little bit of that going on right now, and this funeral is a little preemptive. But hey, we're still here to put it in the ground. So
Yeah, we don't know
Yeah,
just yet, but
The
it's like
trajectory
the same.
is there though.
Yeah,
Well, I just
but
have
what
to
you said
admit
about
that-
like, yeah, but what you said like about like consoles, you're like, oh, they're gonna die. They say the same thing about fucking single player games. Single player games are dead,
Yep.
guys. You want to play these multiplayer games and these live service games for forever and ever and ever, and give us all your fucking money. Don't play those single player games you only pay for once. And
Right.
every single year, game of the year is a single fucking player
Everything's
game.
a live service.
So-
They want live service has a place in the space, but no,
Oh, it
fuck
does.
you and everything
like
making
things
live
like AAA
services.
games and stuff like that.
Like
it's just-
Helldivers 2.
the-
Great live service game. Love it. Absolutely love it.
It's the best
but-
model. That's the best model
Yeah,
market
I'm
for it,
not
in my
I'm not
opinion.
I'm not gonna fucking buy any slop or get sucked into any fucking live service slop that's out there.
Nope.
Fuck that. Give me my first player, my single player first party experience games, and I'll be more than happy.
And I know we're going a bit of a tangent, but what's even more insane about all of that is that like all these companies are like, oh, that live service game failed, but we're gonna quadruple down on making live service games, guys. And we're gonna keep throwing shit at the wall, and it's gonna stick eventually. We'll
Yeah.
get that light in the bottle.
Rip Concord.
yeah. R.I.P. Well, we're late to that funeral.
Yeah.
Yeah, that funeral's that ship has sailed.
Yeah.
It's so fast. 2 weeks. Record.
2 weeks.
Worst game ever.
Yeah. At least the Xbox lasted.
Like the game barely came out. It got scrapped. That was fucking wild. I don't think we'll ever see anything like that ever again.
I think Kai's over there dying himself.
Yeah, dude, I've been like choking all day today. It's like I got pneumonia in my lungs at the moment.
Okay, I was tempted. I was tempted to get a physical copy of Concord, but I was like, "Fuck it! It's just a useless piece of."
I thought about it too.
Nostalgia,
just for future, you know.
Yeah, just for the shits and giggles. Like, hey, I bought this for a quarter.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
that shit like
well,
that
actually, people were reselling it on fucking eBay for like $500. So, I mean, people are crazy.
That's what I was. That's why I would get it. I have no nostalgia for it, but like if I could flip it in a couple of years,
I don't even know if I could even flip that like and feel and not feel dirty at the end of the day. And so I just like said fuck it. I decided against it. I do collect physical games, and there's plenty of other games that I want to collect that I know will hold some value, like that Witcher 3 game. Like I could sell that 20 years from now. If you have a working Switch, you'll be able to pop that fucker in and you'll have everything, including all the DLC on one cart. You won't have to have an internet connection or anything. So that kind of shit, you know, obviously a live service game, you buy a physical copy and you put it in the system and the servers are gone. Unless there's like some kind of like community that has their own private servers, it's kind of stupid to even think about.
Or if they do offline mode, which they'll never do with any of those games.
Yeah,
they're like, oh,
exactly.
The servers will be open forever.
Boring.
We're down in a year.
Yeah,
sorry, guys.
That's a whole other thing. What is the other one that just got shut down? That was a big live service game that everyone was upset about. X Defiant. I think that was an Ubisoft. Ubisoft is another one that's probably going to go away.
Was anyone upset about that?
Nobody was.
I think I saw people upset about it on Twitter. I mean, Twitter's not the real world, but obviously, you know, I saw some people like be like, "Oh man, I can't wait until they were gonna do some kind of DLC or new season or whatever they were gonna do." But some people were grumbling about that.
It's the fucking Woodstock thing again. It's like we all went, but only like 10,000 people went. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's probably the case. But still, like these live service games Ubisoft in general Ubisoft might not be around next year. They might not survive 2025.
You've never heard
Ubisoft's
that?
in big fucking trouble.
About Woodstock?
Oh, yeah, they are.
Like, you ever heard that about Woodstock? How, like...
What about it?
Like, it's just everyone talks about how they went, like, millions of people, but, like, only 10,000 people
never
ever
did.
went. Yeah, one time. Like, the numbers are documented. It's only, like, 10,000 people, but... Yeah.
Well, I lived during that time, so I was there in spirit.
In spirit? I didn't live there.
Yeah, but the thing is, everybody that went to Woodstock, they ended up having, like, 14 children each, so, that's probably why it's the root. Yeah, those acid babies. They definitely proliferated their kind quite a bit and extended their family trees for sure. Because I feel like everyone knows someone like 6 degrees of separation that has like, oh, I went to Woodstock in '69, and it's like, okay. But yeah, it is true. Fellas. It's like a 6 degrees of separation thing.
So if there's either of you have any other words to add to the eulogy of
well, let me hold on,
topic?
wait. Let me see if I can play something for our
for the service
dearly departed for Xbox.
Yes.
If I can find it.
Yes.
If I can find it.
Something beautiful. Something
of course nice. I can't find it. Oh, here we go. We salute you, Xbox.
I heard something about Xbox.
I heard like a beat, and that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully that
really?
came through. I think that should have. Yeah.
It did not.
It
did not.
I mean, not really.
Did it come through on the stream though?
No. I don't.
We didn't even hear it. I don't think it registered on the stream, bro.
Really? Should have
You're
came
really
out through
modeling.
Wavelength.
Don't worry. Don't worry
You're
about
really,
it. We came on.
You're really
You're
ruining the
awesome.
funeral, homie. Like you're really ruining the moment we're trying to have here.
Let's see something.
Most impressive.
Oh, maybe not.
Yeah, I heard that.
There went something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that might have not gone out over stream.
No, I heard it.
It should have.
If we heard it, it more likely went on stream, but I don't know. I don't know how you have.
Yeah,
like,
but I have
channels.
different channels. Yeah, different channels that are outputting stuff to the stream. So I have my sound alerts and stuff that are like set up separately for like my own stream, but I might not have it set up properly for the podcast.
Yeah.
Whatever. Either way.
All right. Well, anything else to add to the eulogy of Xbox here?
Nope, I hardly knew you, even though I have thousands of hours. I hope it was worth it, Microsoft.
R.I.P. All
Yep,
right.
rest in peace.
So we are now moving on to our final topic, and the one that I guess some of you have been waiting for. Let me set it up, and I'll pass it over to Zakeda because I'm still a bit confused on this one. So
Yeah, I'm getting like real time updates here in the chat. From Cloud
me,
here.
he said
It came from Twitter. Yeah, Cloud came from Twitter.
Awesome.
He's probably been keeping tabs on this whole situation that we've all seen. So I mean, I have
we'll get it going.
I have my ear to the ground on a lot of the Switch 2 rumors and stuff that's been going on. Obviously, you know, the Nintendo Switch was revealed in 2016, came out in 2017. Massive success for Nintendo. The console was pretty underpowered when it came out, right? It was like 2015 mobile hardware coming out in 2017. You know, and surprisingly, Nintendo was able to hobble that thing along for 8 years. It's had some AAA games ported to it that should never have been able to have been ported to that console. The goddamn thing still runs Fortnite at like 3 frames per second, and you have like, you know, 5-year-olds on there like getting battle royale victories somehow. So Nintendo has done an impressive job with the Switch. It literally saved the company from the Wii U disaster. So like anything else, everyone's like wondering what the fuck Nintendo's gonna do with this next console. So, you know, there's so many people out there that are just like listening for any slight disruption in supply chains, deliveries, shipments, you know, tracking new chips that are being made by Nvidia, socks, all that stuff. And over the last year or so, pretty much all throughout 2024, there's been this slow drip of information about the next console. I don't think anyone's surprised that the Switch, the Switch successor, is gonna basically be the same exact thing as the Switch, but more powerful. I don't think anyone's gonna be surprised about that. Nintendo is obviously going to play it safe. They know they have a successful hit with the Switch. They know that they had a successful hit with the Wii. So from the Wii to the Wii U, what the fuck happened? Why was there no conversion from the Wii generation to the Wii U generation? And essentially, obviously, there was a huge marketing problem there, where the Wii U just never gained traction, didn't sell well, and maybe some people believe that the name Wii U confused the shit out of people. Nobody knew whether was it an actual successor to the Wii, was it an add-on, what was it? It's a Wii U. What the fuck is a Wii U? So I think Nintendo learned from that. So when we finally found out what the name of this next system that Nintendo's coming out with, it's going to be called the Switch 2. From every indication that we have. So and all of everything that we've seen that's actually credible and legitimate, as far as we can tell, is indicating that this new console is going to be called the Switch 2. So, you know, midway through 2024 comes around, stuff starts picking up. We start seeing things from like Chinese manufacturers that manufacture accessories and cases and stuff. Things start to slowly leak out, fuzzy images from Alibaba, stuff like that. Eventually around September or so, we start getting like legit, almost complete like CAD renders of what this thing is going to look like. So from what we know, the Switch is going to be a much larger tablet, about an 8-inch screen, LCD, not OLED, and it's going to have magnetic Joy-Cons. So if you both own a Switch, right? Your Switch Joy-Cons have rails, and they connect on those little rails, and they snap in, and you got your little gimmick. Well, the Switch 2 is going to have magnetic Joy-Cons. They're not going to slide up and down. They're going to actually just like get sucked into the Switch. And the Joy-Cons are going to be bigger, and they're going to have Hall effect joysticks. Like all these kind of like, they're all just like QOL, quality of life upgrades, essentially. So this is like looking really good, right? Like we're getting all this stuff is starting to leak out. So every indication for us on the outside that are like, consuming this information bit by bit, we're like, Nintendo's got to say something soon, right? Like if they're already going to the point where they're going into mass production on this unit, it looks like, Nintendo's making big moves. They're, logistics are ramping up, deliveries are happening. It's almost for certain that this thing is being mass produced at some level. So we think around September, October, we're going to get some type of teaser, something. Nothing happens. We wind up getting a Nintendo Direct, I think in October, either late September or early October, where everyone thought we were going to get at least like some kind of teaser. Didn't happen. It was just basically a rehash of some software that was going to be released in the fall, like Mario and Luigi Brothership, stuff like that. And so we were just like, what the heck is going on? So everyone is so starved for information now because the leaks have kind of reached a precipice. We kind of know everything we need to know about the hardware at this point. There's really not much that we don't know about what the Switch 2 is going to be in terms of hardware, in terms of software, in terms of any little gimmicks. Like we know it has a microphone, according to shipment information. We know that it has the magnetic rails. We know all these like little. We also know it has a new button on the right Joy-Con. It's a button with the letter C on it. Nobody knows what that's for yet. So like, even though we know what the system looks like, we know a bunch of stuff about what is on the outside. We don't know like certain things that are. There's obviously going to be something that Nintendo is going to be able to show us when they reveal this, where it's going to be like, okay, that's cool. Speculation about what that C button is. Some people thought it's a chat button. They're bringing like a Miiverse thing back, or like a Sony Home style thing, where you're going to use a Mii character and you'll be able to chat with people in some kind of like online service. Nintendo also did this weird play test thing. I don't know if you guys heard about this back a couple months ago. They had this massive online play test, and it was like a super secret thing. Everyone had to sign an NDA. Anyone could join it if you had a Nintendo Online account, but you had to sign like an NDA. I don't remember if I told you guys this, but I actually shared the video for that, and I got DMCA'd by Nintendo. I actually got DMCA'd on Twitter by Nintendo, and it was kind of funny because when you get DMCA'd on Twitter, they actually send you the entire DMCA request, like the actual legal request. Yeah. And it was like me and a shitload of other like top accounts that got caught in like this Nintendo dragnet. And I actually saw the email from the Nintendo representative saying like, this guy's a Cicada, we got to take his shit down. I'm like, okay. I'm like, whatever. So I had to go through some like little bullshit process and be like, yeah, I'll delete that tweet so that way I can reinstate my account or whatever. But yeah, Nintendo, like that shit was, Nintendo obviously wanted to keep that under wraps. What the fuck was that about? Can it be tied to the C button? We don't know. We don't know that yet. It could also be a cast button. That's another thing that's been talked about. Like, for instance, you could cast your game from your Switch to your TV and then use your Switch as a second screen. That could be a crazy gimmick for the Switch 2. That could be used in a racing game. It could be used for DS emulation. All types of crazy stuff. So like, we don't know. Obviously Nintendo's got something cooking in the kitchen that's on the software side. I think on the hardware side, they played it super safe. Hold on. For what direct information you got the warning? Oh, Cloud, I got for the Nintendo playtest, I got DMCA'd on Twitter for that. So, but the thing is, since everyone's kind of jonesing for information, people have been terminally online for the last I want to say the last month or so. This has gotten exponentially worse since I want to say right before Thanksgiving. I know Cloud's not from the US, but we have Thanksgiving like the last Thursday of the year, and like right before like mid-November, we started getting crazy people going on like the subreddits. There's a few subreddits that people frequent for this type of information. I think the Nintendo Switch 2 subreddit's one of them, and then they also have like a gaming leaks and rumors subreddit. And so this person, I think about 2 weeks ago, so like early December, their username is yeah, we got a lot of fake leakers. There's a whole thing in the leaking culture there, but either way, so we get this guy. I'm gonna get right to the meat and potatoes of this. This person, Next Handheld, comes along about 2 weeks ago, claiming they're from the future, and they're like, "Oh, I have my hands on a final retail unit of the Switch 2." And so, like, with these subreddits, you know, you can't just say shit like that. You can't just be like, "Yo, I got this." You have to proffer some proof. That kind of behavior normally would get you banned because you're full of shit usually. But this person immediately, a mod responds to them. It's like, "Hey, you can't fucking post that shit. Like, we're gonna ban you. You know, you better prove this, or we're gonna ban you." The person winds up DMing the mod and sends them proof under the condition that they don't share that image. So that just fed the frenzy. So a mod corroborates this person's claim that they have their hands on a final retail unit of the Switch 2. So everyone's freaking the fuck out. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, this is it. We're going to get the boom big reveal. It's going to be crazy." You know, and another caveat he said in that post was that he was going to release the pictures of the console on Christmas. So it was just a countdown after that. The hype just started building. People started getting completely schizo over it. People are taking pictures, cropping them, putting angles, superimposing, giving opacity to the thing. Like it got crazy. It reminded me of that one GIF where you're just like putting everything on the wall and just like mapping all the pieces together. And so everything came to a head on Christmas. So this guy finally had to put up or shut up. Evidently, he wasn't fast enough. So the mod chickened out first. I guess it was a game of chicken. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but the mod ended up leaking the images. And then somehow there was like a beef between the mod and this person, but this person winded up sharing another picture on their Twitter account. They created a Twitter account. When I started following it, it had like, I don't know, not even 50 followers. And they share a picture, and I know you two have seen it already, of something. And we all looked at it and we're all like, what the fuck is this? What did we just see? There were so many red flags in this image. It was, just looking at it, and I should actually pull it up. Let me see if I can pull this thing up.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can.
Yeah, while you're doing that to fill the air. Yeah, I looked through some of it. Like, I'm still kind of getting the story right now to get the full picture. I did see the photo. Is it possible he has like a dev unit? Because that's what that looked like to me.
That's
like
not what he said. He said he had a final retail unit.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Because dev units will look weird like that sometimes. Like, if you've seen the PS5 dev unit,
I haven't.
It looks like something out of like a fucking 80s like retro sci-fi movie. It's actually pretty cool looking, but it's got the V. It's like a flat box. It's got like the V. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think that's like I don't think that's a dev unit though. Again, just looking at it, it looks like it's AI. It looks like it's forced perspective from that photo. There's also a blow up of some text, and there's not even text on there, and it's literally like typed up. Just like, hey, look at these these numbers that we don't know what they mean. There's not even print on there. So that shit's fake.
I mean,
it
looks very odd.
So
Because
it
don't we
depends on
don't
what
we
picture you're
pretty
looking
much
at.
know? Yeah, don't we pretty much know what this thing looks like though, based on
We do.
like some of the leaks from
Yeah,
the
we have full CAD drawings. So
Yeah.
if you look at the picture, I don't know if you see the exact picture I posted up on the stream right now, but if you look at this, okay, name one thing in the background that you recognize. One thing.
Let me see.
Not
I'm gonna pull it up in our chat. Let's see.
so
Yeah,
you
I
look at
don't-
this you look at this image, immediately
Yeah,
there's just a million red flags.
Yeah.
There's nothing real about this picture. Maybe the console
Well-
itself could be real.
There's also like
So, like-
30 fingers. There's like one way over here. There's
Well,
2, 3, 4.
there-
Like there's fingers in his wrist.
Yes.
Like
That's a different
They're
image you're
also
looking at.
wearing their watch over their sleeve, which is just
Yeah, which you don't do.
diabolical. I don't know. The even the holes on the watch don't match up. They're not
okay.
symmetrical.
Yeah. The photo you're looking at is different from. I'm looking at the one you posted. and,
Oh!
Yeah, that one's really funny because it's like a million fingers.
I know. I just added more AI to that one.
Oh, okay, I see. I was about to say, how is this even a debate? Okay,
Oh my
okay,
God.
that makes sense.
Yeah, this is the
You
image
know,
that people are.
I was like, how are we even talking about this right now? Because this
Right.
is so clearly okay. So,
No, that
So what's
actually
the
that
more-
that was a result of all of this. Like people were just
Yeah, it's
memeing
cool.
on it because it's such a fucking ridiculous thing.
Yeah, and it's
But-
it's a bad image. Like,
okay, all right,
It's a horrible image.
I got you. I'm with you. Okay, but
So-
yeah,
so
so I see what
people-
you're saying
so-
though. There's a bunch of like made up technology in the background that doesn't exist.
There's
right?
like yeah,
And then-
there's yeah,
and then, of course, like,
everything's
the-
made up.
yeah, and then if you look at the console, it doesn't even look like it's actually in that person's hand, and it looks like a forced perspective. And
Yep.
It doesn't. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard to say what
The
it's
more
at
the
bottom.
more
I
you
don't know
look
what
at this
plus-
picture, the more problems appear.
Yeah.
Essentially,
The plus doesn't make
The
any
longer you look.
sense.
no,
There's nowhere for it to actually dock on it.
Mm.
It's too thin.
Well,
like,
I think-
there's,
I
this
So-
isn't-
think
this
they
doesn't
changed the
look real.
docking on it though, actually, because they're gonna have a USB-C at the top of it unless they have 2. I don't know how they're
yes,
gonna be doing the docking.
it will have
but they're
2
gonna be doing
US.
that.
Yes, you know, no, it's gonna have
Okay.
2. See, that's another thing that people are speculating about, which is fine because like we do know it's gonna have its regular USB-C connection on the bottom for docking, for normal docking. But it does
On the top,
have
yeah,
a
that's
USB.
what
It does.
charge.
It now that could just be as simple as charging for tabletop. You know, so that way you don't have to like mess with the cord on the bottom, and you can just plug it in the top and tabletop charging problem solved. Or it could be also an extra accessory port for peripherals and stuff like that, like a camera or something along those lines.
Or
Um,
maybe data transfers or something like that. I don't know.
yeah,
but-
and you know Nintendo's going to do some crazy shit with an extra port for accessories if they can. So, but
Mhm.
yeah,
Sure.
all that being said, so like the working theory with this is that the console itself looks semi acceptable. So the theory that everyone came up with, or what I want to call the immediate cope. I'm just reading the chat too, because Cloud has followed this as well. But yeah, like basically everything about this console in the image is kind of in line with what we think. But there's some things that are
Mhm.
glaringly, like you said, Kai, the forced perspective is an issue. Like the Nintendo logo doesn't appear to be on the right angle.
Nope.
Also, the plus sign is on the side from this angle. The plus sign is on the side or the Joy-Con that would have the negative symbol. So that's also incorrect. The U-shaped kickstand, that is considered a legitimate thing that's going to be part of the system. Where the game cart slot is, that also appears to be correct based on the CAD files. Also the little connector that's coming out, that also appears to be legitimate. Like there's some things here, but like if this was a final retail unit, another big thing that we noticed, there's no Switch logo on the back of the Switch. Every Switch that's ever come out always has the Switch logo on the back.
Yeah.
You don't see that in this image. So I highly doubt, even if this person has some sort of version of the console, it's not a final retail unit. So I do believe that they lied about that. But
It's
what
also
they're
too
trying.
bulky. Like the plastics are too bulky. Like they're too thick. Like you wouldn't see that. The OG Switch is like way sleeker than this. I can't see them like
Well,
coming
It is
out
going
with
to
that little
be. It is going to be
chunky
bigger.
plastic.
It is
Yeah,
going
it's
to be a
bigger,
chunky
but,
a little
boy.
bit more depth to
But
it
like the
because they're gonna have more
plastic
power
being
in
that.
there.
Yeah, but I mean, I still think it's gonna be sleeker than that. Like that's just real.
It might
like,
be.
That's like children's plastic. Like that's real. Like, I don't see. I mean, it's possible. I mean, it is Nintendo. They do consider their consoles toys. So I guess, but like
Yeah.
that just seems really, really chunky for like what I think they would do.
Yeah, but
even, like
The thing
that
is-
kickstand seems real chunky. Like it just doesn't seem. Like it looks like a dev unit. Like that's what it looks like to me.
yeah,
I think that this is probably a close to final retail unit if this is what it ends up looking like. I do think it is going to be a significantly thicker system than the current Switch. It's like
Well,
an
you can
upgrade
make
from the
it
OLED.
thicker, but you can still do
Oh.
it with thin plastics. You can make it bigger, and it'll make heat disperse easier too if you have thinner plastics.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't think
possible.
it'll be that chunky.
Well, apparently this leaker, he said that the Plus connects to the Plus Joy-Con,
Mhm.
even though again we can see that it's supposed to be on the right,
On the wrong side.
instead of the left,
Yeah.
unless they swap them around for whatever reason.
Well,
Then,
that's what I'm
that's
saying. Like,
the-
there's
That wouldn't be
people
enough,
have
though.
tried to make sense of this. Like, there's so much. This image raises so many more questions than it answers. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And like the big cope about this image is not even so much like just analyzing like what we're seeing here, which is a very, very strange like angle of the tablet version of the console
It's
itself.
very
It's not really a great perspective. It doesn't really
Also-
show us anything. What?
It looks like it also looks like a piece of the console is like missing. Like there's like an L back there. I don't know.
I
It's
think
just-
that's where it's supposed to be. The kickstands are supposed to like
That's-
collapse into
yeah.
in the console.
Yeah, those are the hinges. It's very similar to. I actually was taking a look at my OLED. The OLED has very similar hinges on the kickstand on it. It
yeah,
has
except it's like
the,
one giant piece of like two smaller
Yeah.
ones.
yeah.
Well, yeah, but the two hinges look very similar to the two hinges here. So like it's and like also the kickstand looks super overextended. You can also do that with the OLED. So like the physics of this thing is not what bothers me. What bothers me is how this person like offered this information. And the major cope about this image is like, oh, the dude is using AI, like going into Photoshop. Like you can use generative AI in Photoshop to like create a fake background of like an image. So like you can have something real and then surround it by fake bullshit. So that's what they were saying. Like, oh, he's just doing it to protect his identity. But the thing was, this guy started just making up shit like that was verifiably false. So after this, he essentially turned into a clout goblin. Because after this was posted, he started trolling everybody. He started trolling me on Twitter. Started going on every one of my tweets in my timeline. Started fucking, trolling me or whatever. But then he started saying really stupid stuff. So one of his biggest blunders, in my opinion, was that he went on there. He went on, I believe it was one of the subreddits, and it's like, oh, I got to turn it on, and I saw it ran a bunch of JSON files, which is JSON files are just literally like data files. They're not like programs. They don't have like code in them that's runnable. Usually a JSON file will store typical API data stuff or just like raw data values. And he's saying that he saw it run JSON, and everyone immediately called him out on this. Like, bro, you don't run JSON files. Like that's not. He's like, oh well, I saw that it was running JavaScripts, and then he changed it to JavaScripts, which is another thing, which is another front end UI type thing, and not a like something that would be running to check hardware. Because that's another thing he was saying. He was like, oh, it was checking like the hardware and making sure like all the stuff on the circuit board. Bro, JavaScripts is not doing that, and neither is fucking a JSON file. So
No.
right then and there, we knew that this guy was full of shit. So right now, the situation that we're in with this is that Next Handheld is a douchebag. Even if his shit turns out to be somewhat true, Like, even if, like, because then we didn't even get into like what the fucking dock looks like, which I think is the dumbest thing. Like, because that was the one piece of evidence that he had that was like never before seen. Like, we have the CAD files, we have the 3D renders of the system itself, of the actual tablet, but nobody really knows what the dock looks like. So the fact that he had the dock, the fact that he had the dock was huge.
But if I saw the right image, it just looks like an OLED dock. It doesn't look any different.
Well, it does actually look somewhat different. It almost looks like a VoIP phone. Like, if I wouldn't have known any better and I just saw that back picture of the dock, I would have thought that was like a Cisco VoIP phone. I would not have thought it was the Switch. Like, looking at it now compared to the other docks, it does look similar. There are a lot of similarities, but it's kind of ugly. And then he shows a very, very bad front picture of the dock, so you don't get to see like the full dock uncropped. You just see the logo, which literally says Switch 2, which could very well be true. We do believe that it's going to be called that, but even the logo that was on the front of the dock was very suspect, because like the 2 was not at the same perspective or the same angle as the Switch logo itself. So like everything about this has just been thrown into question. There could be truth to it, but the person that is offering this shit is like literally the worst F tier leaker to ever exist. And I do believe that a lot of us are being trolled, because a lot of people are terminally online, and like when I started questioning this, I like lost like 100 followers, because people were following me, like people were following me for like some of this news, and they just wanted me to blindly accept anything that was being offered. And I'm like, no, I got to be critical of this. This is probably like even if there's some grains of truth here, like most of this is bullshit. This person is bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious, and I don't know how people can be clamoring on to stuff like this. It baffles me. Like, I understand you want to believe, and you want to get like some like cool little look inside on what's going on with the Nintendo Switch 2, but Nintendo's pretty good about keeping their stuff under wraps for the most part. So I don't like, it's hard to want to believe any of this stuff. Like,
Nintendo isn't that good anymore. Unfortunately,
I don't know. Like, I hardly ever hear anything about them, but I guess I'm not looking for it. But
here's the
I don't know.
the dock.
I just feel like like, yeah, there's no way that any of this can be like we'll go up and look at. Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
It looks like a VoIP phone to me, but looking at it more in depth, like
it looks like a fucking router or something.
Yeah, it looks. It does. It looks like a router or some shit. Like, now, look, if you didn't tell me this was a Switch 2 dock, I would never even guess that. But now that I would know that, it does look like it could be a Switch 2 dock. It could be. Very well could be.
Definitely, it has the opening. It looks like, I mean, if the rumors are true and it's gonna give it extra power when it's docked, that box would make sense being there. I don't see any attachments though. They could be on the inside of that plastic piece. Again, the plastic is equally really chunky. It has like that 3D printed vibe that the other thing has.
Yeah, it does.
I just don't think it's gonna be that chunky of plastic. I do think it'll be a beefier console, but you see that when you see a lot of 3D printing. Same thing with the other one. It seems very, the edges are also like, they're not professional looking to me in the same kind of way that you would. It's a lot of curved edges, whereas if you look at the past docks, like the bottom part is flat. I don't think this is real either. I think this is 3D printed.
Yeah, it's obviously fake, in my opinion. I mean, I don't see anything.
I think there's
there's really nothing. There's nothing to go by to actually take this as legitimate. And the crazy thing about this is that major news outlets have reported on this as being like fact.
Yeah, the vents also don't make sense. Like, why would you have vents? The vents on the back part.
Look at the back of your Switch too. Like, I looked at the vents. Like, I even had on my timeline. Let me go back to my timeline for a second. I actually have a picture of all of them.
Well, this is
I
the
have the
dock,
pic-
right? And this is
Yeah,
assuming
I have
that
the picture of all the
is gonna,
docks. I have the pictures. Let me go look at my.
the
fucking
docks don't
pictures
have
real quick.
vents, but like, because they don't
Yeah,
do
they do.
anything other than
So
dock.
the Switch G1 has a vent on the top of where the ports are, and then the OLED has vents in 2 different spots plus a vent on the top. So like when you're looking at this, like the venting is similar. It's pretty similar. And if this thing does have, which according to the shipments, the leaked shipment documents, there is a fan in the dock, whereas I don't believe there is a fan in any of the current iterations of the dock. So it's very plausible, but this is not enough concrete evidence. We need at least we need multiple angles. Yeah, we need a lot more than just one angle like this to verify this as true. And you know what? Like, what I feel like could have happened in this situation with Next Handheld is that Next Handheld could have very well have gotten a picture of the dock and had very shitty,
or AI.
Well, no, not even that. Just got their hands on a picture of it through some unknown means, like a legitimate picture that got leaked somehow, and they flew too close to the sun, and they wanted to clout farm it, and that's what it appears that they flew too close to the sun, and they just went full clout goblin mode because they were really trying to they said that they didn't want this to be like a thing that they were doing, but they set this whole thing up to build up hype, slow drip releases, and then when they finally delivered whatever goods that they had, it was so lackluster that now they're just kind of backtracking and trolling everybody. But hey, if this actually turns out to be the true dock, they can turn around in January when the shit gets revealed, like, I fucking told you so. But you know, I think that's what they're really kind of gearing up for.
Maybe. But it just seems like someone just, I want to try to get famous on the internet. I'm gonna make some fake shit.
Yeah.
Here we go. Switch 2.
Yeah.
So let me ask each of you, Kai, what percentage do you think this is real?
0.
Zero.
Like 0%.
What about you? Where are you at with this, percentage wise?
I'm more of like a 60-40, 40,
Really? Okay.
40% that it's
40?
true.
That it's real?
Yeah, because I do believe that there is grains of truth in this leak. I don't believe that it is 100% true. Like, I don't know.
So is your main contention is that this dude's being a dickhead and more so than like it's being faked, or like what's your main
his
contention
dickheadishness is really kind of just a byproduct of how this all came about. This person's obviously clout farming, and they may have had gotten their hands on something, and then they overextended their hand, they overplayed their hand. Like, if they would have just came out and said, hey, I got my hands on a picture of the dock, it's a shitty picture, I only got one angle, they were upfront about it and offered it to the community, they probably would have been hailed as a hero. And probably 90 to 95% of the community would believe that this was a legitimate picture. The fact that they did this slow drip release, they hyped it up, they got everyone fucking in a tizzy over it, and then they showed these pictures with AI backgrounds. It just completely tarnished and destroyed their credibility. Like, we can't believe anything they say now. So even if this does end up being somewhat true, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This person, in terms of like their trust with the community that wants like valid, true leaks and not just bullshit, will never trust this person ever again. They are now a pariah in terms of the leaking community.
In all fairness, and again, we don't want anybody to go and like harass this person or anything like that. Like, this just
that goes without saying. Yes, of course. And don't worry,
But yeah,
don't do that. Don't do that. Don't be bad.
Yeah, don't do that at all. I do think this is 0% though. I'm with Kai on this one. I think there's no shot that this thing is real. Absolutely. Like, on the plastics alone, like, I know you seem to disagree with, and that's fine. Hey, we don't know. But like, I don't think even just anything else aside the plastics by itself tells me it's fake. They wouldn't. That's like some fucking 80s, I'm looking at the
current docks though. They look very similar. They look in terms of like thickness of the plastics and stuff. They actually look similar.
No, they're super thin. They're not as chonky. They're more angular. Like we'll see. Hey, we'll see.
The dock. If you're looking at the dock is pretty chonky.
No,
I'm seeing the same amount of thinness in the spacing between where you nest the switch. So,
I mean, I'm looking at the dock too, and I don't know, whatever. But I think it's 0%. We'll see when the time comes. Of course. The bigger question is,
I don't think it's 0. I don't think it's 0.
If I set up a boxing fight between the two of you, are you down to do it?
For what?
For you and this guy that you have.
For next.
Absolutely, absolutely. Get him on the goddamn. Get him on the goddamn podcast. Let's fucking see what he has to say. Because I would really love to see what this guy has to say. Like, as a human being, because right now he's acting like AI himself.
I want to peer into his soul.
Oh yeah, because he's acting like AI himself. Like he's acting like a bot online. So it's kind of wild. Like he was in one of my comments and someone was like actually like pointing out a legitimate criticism of him, and he's like, and you wrestle half naked men for content, or I'm like, that is wild. That's a wild.
You're literally like lying to people to try to get clout.
You're out here like clout farming and like lying straight up, and then you're gonna go and attack someone because they like wrestling or some shit. Like that's crazy. But yeah, so this dude went full evil mode, and
he's just a goon. He's just a goon.
Yeah, and
that's all it is.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I said, like he had an opportunity. He had an opportunity to actually like be an asset to the community, and instead just squandered it for a tiny bit of clout. And someone in the Cloud is saying it should be more chunky, a lot more. But yeah, there's another theory that Cloud brought up that next handheld is actually this other person called Mushbert. And that's a whole other story, but we won't go into that. There's so much lore here. It's kind of wild, but yeah, at the end of the day, I do think that this is going to I do think that this doc may prove to be true. I think that this image is not a final retail unit.
No shot.
It's probably old. It probably came from a leaked Chinese source or a manufacturing facility. I'm looking at this doc right now, and I can even see that it's missing screws. Like, this is one of the things someone didn't even bring up, but like I see screws in multiple parts of that dock, and then I see 2 screw places where the screws are missing. So I highly doubt this is probably some QA facility that this picture came from. If it ends up being real, I don't believe that this person ever had their hands on a final retail unit. I think every extra grain of shit that they've relayed to the community has been complete bullshit. Like the Mario Kart 9 thing, I think is bullshit. Obviously they never powered it on. That's bullshit. I think they even said something about the Joy-Con colors are gonna be like gold and blue. I said that's definitely bullshit. So I think most of the shit that they do that. Yeah. I think Nintendo's playing it super safe. If this doc ends up being real, it is definitely a picture that did not come from them personally. It came from somewhere else, and they got their hands on it, and they just try to stretch it out for way more than what it was worth, essentially. Yeah. And they flew too close to the sun, and then their wings melted, and then they came crashing down, and now they're a joke, essentially. So, but yeah, it was a fun arc. It was a fun arc, and it was a great interaction. With it was just a great thing to see unfold. It was a beautiful thing to see unfold on Twitter because like this was crazy. This was all happening in real time, and I didn't expect to get kind of embroiled in the whole controversy. I literally my vested interest was purely to see what this person had. Because they tried to act like they were like doing this amicably and professionally, like you would leak, confidential sources, and you try to do it in a careful and protracted way where you can kind of protect everyone. But like if they were just honest, it would have changed the whole thing, but they weren't, because obviously their underlying motive was seeking attention, and that fucked up the whole thing. But that's another part of this whole terminally online culture. So with getting all this information all the time.
I mean, for a
So-
lot of people, I mean, I'm included this as well. I'm not doing stuff that this guy's doing, but I mean, people want to taste that internet life, man. And some people just take it way too far to try to get there, and then just fuck themselves over, and then will never ever have a chance because they decided to be dumb. So
Yeah, I like that
And then,
if this information turned out to be true, like this could have been huge for them. They would have been hailed as a hero. They would have had so many followers on Twitter. They would have been able to legitimately like be trusted with any information going forward. People would probably use them as a trust. Like the crazy thing about this too is like 3 of the biggest Nintendo Switch leakers immediately corroborated this person too, which was fucking crazy because they
Wow.
never do that. That's another thing that set everyone off. Pyro and Samus, Aaron, I forget what their names are. But 3 of them. The Samus. There's the one that pretended to be a girl, and then there's Pyro. They're all
okay.
pretty established leakers in the community. They all like Samus, Pyro and Samus Hunter. Okay, Cloud's got me on that one. Who's the other one too? We got the other one that Miori or Midori or whoever they were. Yeah, Midori. Yes, thank you. Yeah, so those are 3 prominent leakers in the Switch community in the Nintendo. Actually, they leak more like one. I think Midori is like an Atlas leaker, big Persona fan.
Gotcha.
But so yeah, these 3 leakers actually like semi corroborated Next Handheld, which also freaked everyone out because they're like, holy shit! If like these people are like saying like this shit is like possibly true, then we got to pay attention to this. So everyone's fucking ears were just like zeroed in on this guy. And then of course, after they showed the stuff, like all the leakers started backing away and saying, it's probably bullshit, maybe not. They all kind of like did damage control. But so yeah, this whole situation was kind of interesting to see happen in real time. And I don't know if the saga is completely over. And not only that, the
it's
January
about to be.
8th,
They're going to announce it soon.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, the January 8th reveal date has been thrown around. Pyro said the logo looked real and nothing more. Yeah, that's pretty much kind of what everyone's been saying. The logo's real, but everything else is fake. But if January 8th, by our next episode of the podcast, we very well could know all the answers about the Switch too. It's either going to be January 8th, or it's going to be later on in the month. And Samus Hunter thinks the dock looked real. Yeah, like everyone had their own little take on it. It's quite interesting. But like I said, I'm willing to bet that the dock could possibly be real. Like I'm not gonna die on the hill and be like it's completely fake, it's completely bullshit. Like I'm looking at this objectively.
I will die
on the hill also.
Yeah, because I think you guys are misunderstanding me in the chat too about what I'm talking about, the chunky plastics. I think the device is going to be chunkier, but the plastic itself, if you look at the Steam Deck, like it's a chunky fucking device, but the plastics are very thin, they're very sleek.
And they're actually
not. Yeah, they're smoothed out. But these devices, again, they look 3D printed. They have this real thick, chunky plastic. It's real cheap looking plastic. It looks like carving clay. Like it's not something you see in a mainline device from a company.
I've dabbled in 3D printing.
You're not gonna see it.
I see too much glossy plastic. I don't know. I don't think that's 3D printing.
It depends on what
something that's commercially.
Yeah, I mean, not all 3D printing is created equally. I mean, it could be AI too. I'm just saying, like, it is the type. It's not a plastic that you're gonna see in a retail launch of it.
I would go with AI over 3D printed. But
you would then. I mean, whatever. It's fake. But in the 80s, you would see this. Like you would see this for sure. Like the 70s, 80s, you would see this level of. But even then, I think, but like on that Switch alone, like the side profile of the Switch, like where the rails are, that's too thick. It's not going to be that thick, that plastic. It's just not. I'm gonna die on that hill. All right, and the same with the dock. They're both fake.
Okay.
Now they're gonna
right.
now the Switch is gonna look similar because it's gonna look like a Switch. It's gonna look like a Switch. It's gonna look like a Switch dock. It's gonna be
you're not gonna
in some way. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not gonna make the same mistake they did with the Wii U. What up, Zero?
They're definitely not. They're definitely not.
No, they're gonna be like, hey, this is the number 2 of the thing. It's not this other thing you think it's not. It's an actual thing. because you brought that up earlier, and yeah, there was actually a lot of confusion around like the marketing of Wii U because they didn't show the other part of the console. They only showed the gamepad tablet. And I was like,
Yep.
what the fuck is this? Why would I pay
Yep.
like $250 for this shitty ass looking tablet? I don't want that. So
Yeah.
I didn't care.
Yep.
And then I learned it was
Yep.
a console, and I was like, oh, there's gonna be a new Smash game on it. Well, now I gotta get it.
Yep. That's the problem. And yeah, this is the first time that Nintendo will ever call one of their systems 2. Like as a actual like they're like going with the actual like numeric naming.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird because I personally, and I'm still kind of team Super Switch, but I really, really wanted them to go with Super Switch. I just
That
thought
would be cool.
it was more
like a throwback.
I thought it was more in line with like Nintendo's core, ideology.
No.
When
they're
you
gonna
go
do
from
Switch 2.
Oh yeah, they're definitely going to do Switch 2. Because of the Wii U situation. That's exactly why they're doing it. They're like, you know what, how can we make this as simple as fuck for the West? They won't get confused.
Not just the West, just the
slap
entire world.
Yeah.
Like nobody knew what Wii U was.
And you don't want your initials to be the SS either. So.
No.
Well, I mean, Chevy
It was
does
a
it,
pipe
right?
dream.
You get an SS Camaro. So, I mean, yeah, it is weird, but I'm fine with it if it's called Switch 2. I really don't care. Like, essentially, we know everything about what the console looks like up until this. The only thing we really haven't seen is the dock. So this was like super new information. This was supposed to be the boom, big reveal. I turned myself into a pickle essentially, but we kind of we walked away from this with way more questions than answers. And if that is the dock, then what the fuck? Like it's not really impressing anybody. I guess at the end of the day, it really remains to be seen. Like, what is the Switch 2 going to do differently, other than be more powerful than the original Switch?
Nothing.
It won't do
No,
much.
I do.
It'll be
I
a
do
couple
think-
things, maybe, but
Yeah, see, that's the thing that everyone's talking about on Twitter right now. They're like, oh, the days of innovation for Nintendo are over. They've made the greatest innovation with the Switch, and they're gonna be incrementally better Switches going forward. And like, I don't know about all that. I do think that Nintendo is gonna add little gimmicks here and there. I'm really hoping that the C button is like a cast feature. I really, really do hope it's something that you can actually have a dual screen, kind of like bringing the Wii U functionality back in a way, which would be kind of cool.
Well, you see that C button there? That's for capturing. Yep, that's all it's for. It's for capturing C for
we
capture.
have a capture button. We have a capture button on the Switch already.
Oh man, that's
so
C
I
for
definitely
cabbage, man.
C for cabbage. But yeah, I definitely think that this new C button is going to be something else. It's going to be a feature. It's not going to be.
I mean, it'll be. But is that going to be?
I'm
like
hoping for the cast. I'm hoping for cast. I mean,
there's
that technology's already there. You can cast from like your phone, YouTube to like a Roku. So why couldn't you? C is for culo. I don't.
Culo is ass in Spanish.
Yeah.
But so I think it definitely would be cool to get the dual screen functionality, because like it makes sense for a lot of games, and it also makes sense for DS emulation. So if we're ever going to have a Nintendo Switch Online that offers DS games, how else are you going to emulate DS games?
I don't think they'll do that, but that's cool. It'd be cool if they did, but you do DS emulation, your TV's the top screen, your Switch is the bottom screen.
That would be so cool. And because you can use it for so many different things. Like I could totally see like Metroid Prime 4, you have your Metroidvania map on your Switch, using your Switch as the controller, and you're playing the game, like casting the game onto your TV. That would be so sick.
Yeah, I mean
that's just my opinion.
Like what happened a lot with a lot of Wii U games. Like, to be honest, whenever they came out with Wind Waker HD, the tablet was really cool just for the sheer fact that you didn't have to press pause at any time. You just went to your tablet and like, oh hey, I want to add this and I want to change out this. That was pretty cool. I did actually like that function.
I love that.
But I don't think they're gonna do that with the Switch 2. For like,
I agree with Kai. I don't think. Yeah, I think they've moved on. I think second screen almost killed their company.
I mean,
the 3DS.
The DS is the. What do you mean the second screen? The DS is the #1 selling console of all time.
In the
handheld,
console
it's not really considered a console.
The Wii U, The Wii
Yeah, we're
U
talking
and
about
the
the console
DS.
environment.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, within the console environment. I don't think they
I
go
don't
back
think
to
the
that.
Wii U
I think
failed because it had a second screen. The Wii U failed because people didn't know what the fuck it was. That's
Yeah,
the
it's
problem.
failed because it was marketed poorly.
well,
Um,
and it was
It
an
wasn't
ass
marketed
console
really at
too.
all.
Like, it just
I mean,
you
I don't know if it
we'll
was an
see.
ass
We could all be
console,
wrong.
but
I think what we should do, I think we should have a maybe
we
on the
need
next
predictions.
episode, do a prediction episode, yeah, because it's coming up. Especially if they have, maybe if they announce because they'll announce they're having a what you
an
call
event
it
or
event,
to
yeah.
rush.
And so if we have to put a rush order on an episode, that'd be cool, and just do a predictions and do what we did with the Game Awards, where we do points and shit, put our reputations down on it, and
Yeah,
see what's
that'd be
up.
Yeah,
fun.
I'm down. I'm
Yeah,
down for that.
that'd be
Like that.
fun. That'd be
That
fun.
is my. That is where I'm most heavily invested. I'm most heavily invested in the Nintendo ecosystem more so than Sony and Xbox at this point.
Yeah.
My Nintendo Switch collection is vast. I have 5 Switch systems, and over a hundred physical games for it. And I'm
Yeah.
very, very invested in the whole ecosystem, and I'm very invested in and I really want Nintendo to succeed. I mean, we all have.
Mhm.
First of all, no fucking mega corporation is going to be great, and typically it's not my thing to cheerlead for any corporation, but I do feel like Nintendo is special. They've been around for over 100 years. They've survived, 2
They
world
used to be a playing
wars,
card
the Cold
company.
War. Yeah, they were a playing card company, exactly.
That's how they started.
Yeah, and so I do personally want to see Nintendo succeed. I want to see them continue to be at the forefront of the player's experience with games. Like there's the cinematic experiences in games like what Sony and Microsoft are doing, but then there's also just Nintendo that makes software that's fun and good.
Right.
So like it's not even just a matter of like Nintendo and their exclusives and that's why they're popular. Their games are actually good. Like most of their games, they usually don't miss. They have missed in the past, but they usually don't. They have more hits than misses.
They do,
So-
and honestly, what's the best thing about Nintendo is that they're one of the few developers and publishers that will not release a game until it's actually finished, which is
Yes.
nice. They never have like any broken games.
Even
Shout
if
out
it
to
pisses off.
Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, that's the
Shout out
Pokemon
to
company
Pokemon
though.
Scarlet.
That's the
Yeah.
Pokemon
But
company.
I don't accept that excuse though. Like
That's
I
the
don't accept
Pokemon
that
company.
excuse. Like,
Nintendo needs to assert more
Nintendo has
control over that
you're-
company. That's the
That's
problem.
a Nintendo,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're
That's a
developer,
Nintendo
yeah.
exclusive. They should have looked
Yeah.
at that and said, "Nah, fam,
Yeah.
take it back. We
Yeah,
ain't.
that
We're
thing was
not putting this
broken.
out." Yeah.
But-
I do agree. The state of Scarlet and Violet is fucking atrocious.
That was-
It
ran
actually
like
legit
doo-doo.
almost
It was
made
like
me
a
cry.
3DS game.
It almost made me cry how
you
bad,
know,
how bad that was.
the thing I'll say is that like people don't remember Nintendo games for their gimmicks though, for the console, right? Like they remember them for
Sometimes.
the gimmicks
Well-
often get in the way a lot of the time. And the second
Nintendo
screen
wasn't
stuff was
really
pretty
super
cool.
gimmicky until
Um,
the Wii, really.
Well, they've always tried to be really innovative with different things.
Yeah,
and,
they have.
like all sorts of stuff. They've always done
Yeah.
kind of like some odd things, but
Yeah.
but yeah, like once they became like the 3DS and like the Wii and Wii U and everything, they started getting a bit more gimmicky on some of their stuff. I think the Switch is like the most normal and forward console they've released in a really long time.
Yeah, the Wii was definitely a weird one. The Wii caught me off guard. I got so sucked up by the hype of the Wii. I went to the New York City Nintendo store and got one on launch day.
Dude,
I was
I
one of the few
stayed
people to get
up-
one.
I stayed
stayed-
a teenager when the Wii came out, and I was too old for that shit.
I don't
I
fucking
was in
remember
college.
why though.
That was my
And-
attitude.
Yeah, I was in college too.
I was in college and I stayed in a Walmart for 24 hours to get my
Oh
Wii.
my god! Wow, you're worse than me. I only took a
Wow.
train
That
ride
is
at like 3 a.m. and waited online for
What?
like 2 hours. I think I had my Wii within 6 hours of leaving my house.
It was 24 hours. That was
That's what.
really
See, that's the thing.
I-
I remember
I had to
the
spend-
hype, but I don't remember what caused the hype for the Wii. Like, why did we all go crazy?
The
Twilight
fucking
Princess.
No, it was Wii Fit. and the
Was
Twilight
it?
Princess.
I didn't buy Wii
we
Fit.
did.
I bought
Wii
Sports. I bought.
way later.
Yeah, I was
Wii
gonna say,
Sports
yeah,
is
Wii
what I
Sports
meant.
was the
Not
shit.
It was, no, Wii Sports is what it was. The thing is, because you had like older people buying Wii just for Wii Sports. Like, I'm gonna use this to exercise and get out there. You had grandma
that I do remember.
and shit, and they
I do
packed it
remember
in.
that.
And it was just like it was sold. They did a really good job of selling it as this like active, like it's not a video, yeah. And so that's how it sold well. I was
But yeah,
looking
no,
this up
I
for the,
I think the hype though for it was to like the Wiimotes technology, motion controls, and then of course they literally waited to release Twilight Princess for the Wii, even though it was developed for the GameCube.
I mean,
yeah.
In retrospect, though, the Wii. Actually, you know what? You know what? Villain's super wrong. The Wii was just a Switch. Was just a GameCube Pro.
Yeah, it was basically
because
two GameCubes put together.
Yeah, the Wii was essentially a GameCube Pro because it had all the controller ports you could pop in. Because the Wii sold 100 million fucking systems, and you could play the GameCube on it. You could play any GameCube game you wanted. So, essentially,
what was I wrong
so
about?
Essentially,
the
GameCube sold hundreds of millions.
Oh my god!
Yes, the GameCube, by proxy of the Wii, sold over 100 million consoles.
Oh my god! Jesus Christ! I was wondering.
So you were wrong, completely wrong. But that was So the Wii, I don't remember what made me go into a frenzy over the Wii, but I absolutely something like a sickness. I'm like, I have to get this fucking console, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
I played a Wii. I borrowed a girlfriend of mine at the time. I borrowed.
You borrowed a girlfriend?
yeah, I borrowed a girlfriend, and then I borrowed her Wii for a weekend. For a weekend, and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I played Mario Galaxy on it. I played Wii. I thought I keep wanting to call them Joy-Cons, but the Wiimotes, I thought they were stupid. I was like, why does it only have one joystick? Like, why do these games look like ass? I hated it. The console was slow.
It was in 480p in 2007 or 2006.
Crazy. I was an edgy teenager. I was a lot younger than y'all, but like I was a 360 kid.
Yeah.
Like, what is this garbage? Like, get out of here. I had a 3DS though. I loved that. I played the fuck out of it.
I loved my DS. I loved my DS.
After the N64, Nintendo became a portable company for me. I only had their handhelds. And the same thing goes for the Switch. I never dock this thing. Never, ever do I dock it.
It's the only way I play mine.
When we played Mario Party for the stream, that's the only time I've docked it. But yeah, I play it exclusively handheld. They're a handheld company for me, through and through. Never really since the
I do like that Nintendo converged their handheld systems or handhelds with their.
Yeah.
I think that's where they needed to be because they were never going to be a power system after, catching up with Sony and Microsoft on that front. Yeah. So the fact that they were just going to say, you know what, fuck it, we'll put our handheld division and our console division, combine it into a hybrid, call it a day. That was the best move that they've ever done. Especially because
it got people like me in, because that's, again, I got tired of playing the lesser version of Smash Brothers. It's like, I want to play the real, but I don't want to buy a console.
True. Yeah, but it's like it's just me. But the thing is, like, though, like the Nintendo DS is still has such a vast library of games, and it was completely backwards compatible with the Game Boy Advance. It was such a. I wish I still had my Nintendo DS, but like they do need to bring those Nintendo DS games eventually. Like the thing is, the Wii Virtual Console was an amazing product. Was an amazing thing. Like you could get any fucking game you wanted on that thing. Nintendo Switch Online is okay, but it's not what we want. Like everything on the Nintendo Switch Online in terms of like games that you can play on Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64. I will admit I do like what they did with Microsoft by getting Rare games on the N64. That's super cool. Because Rare games kind of made that console. They were like the only developer
Yeah.
that actually could program for it. But like, there's so many games. Like, you cannot play Chrono Trigger on the Switch. That's a travesty. Like, what the hell? And the DS version of Chrono Trigger is like the best version of it. This is where I get into a whole fine line about like emulation and piracy, because it's like, I want to buy that game. I will buy it. I will pay for it. Let me play that game on my Switch, but they won't let me, and that's a problem. Like, I want to be able to have access to that.
Right.
So they really need to work with their second and third party partners, get these games on their service, and they really need to have a way to emulate DS games, which I don't know how they're going to do without having that second screen. So I definitely think that would be a huge thing. They have to have something. Like, there's got to be not just the software, but there has to be something that makes the Switch 2 more marketable.
It's going to be the Switch 2. Like this.
It is. I do believe that. I do believe that, but it's got to have something a little bit more.
Well, it'll have a little stank on it. It will. That C button will probably.
The magnetic Joy-Cons, I'm kind of interested to see how those are going to work out. They do look nice.
It'll probably be, it'll probably do something. Like, they'll probably have like the screenshot button. It'll be a little. Wait, is the screenshot button still there, but the C button is in addition to it? Okay.
Yeah. So the screenshot button's still on the left Joy-Con, where it's always been. But now on the right Joy-Con, there's actually a button that says C. Like, the capture button on the Switch doesn't. It's like a circle. It doesn't really say anything. I don't think so. Let me just double check.
So it might be a cast button. I just don't think that it's gonna be like a big. I think it'll just be like like you're casting it without need for the dock or whatever. I don't think it'll be like a second. That'd be cool though. I mean, hey, I'm on your side. It's just
the technology is so simple to do that. Why wouldn't you?
Nintendo never does what anyone wants them to. So
no, Nintendo does Nintendo things.
Yeah, Nintendo does what Nintendo wants, but at the same time, I definitely think that having that second screen. First of all, it lines up with the thing that they were trying to do with the Wii U. And they obviously had to do a complete 180 and do something else after the Wii U. But this would make so much sense. It would just make so much sense. I don't really understand first of all, I'm completely against that it's another capture button. Nintendo's not about like redundancy like that. They're not going to add another capture button to the other side of the console or onto the other Joy-Con. Chat, I think, is semi-plausible because the DS did have kind of like a chat room type thing, and they also tried to dabble with that Miiverse, and that playtest also lends into that theory. So it could be a like some kind of weird Second Life Miiverse type thing. Although I think that's way less plausible than just having it be an extra screen and having it cast with Bluetooth. Bluetooth technology, you can already do that with all of your phones. If you have a Roku or a smart TV and you have the YouTube app, you can easily cast any YouTube video straight to the TV. So why couldn't you do that with a console? It easily should be able to cast it at least 720 30 frames without any issue whatsoever. We're talking about like online gaming where you're streaming a game from someone else's servers on a shitty internet connection, as opposed to having a direct line of sight Bluetooth connection to your TV or to your dock and being able to cast a video to it. It's like that's like the simplest technology. Like, Nintendo easily could implement that. But if that ends up being the feature, I think that's going to be a killer feature, because that's going to differentiate it. First of all, that will differentiate it a shit ton from the original Switch. So it's going to immediately be a new feature that's going to be very easily marketable. I mean, you're not even going to have to say words to market that. And on top of that, people are just going to be like, what the hell? Like, I can actually do different things with the two different screens, and who knows what kind, like if it's Mario Kart 9 that they're going to launch with, and like you have your entire freaking like map and they show that, I'm just remembering like what the original Switch reveal was like and how people were so like amazed by that. If they did this with the Switch 2 and then show the magnetic Joy-Cons on top of that, which the magnetic Joy-Cons are going to be fucking nice. They're going to be so nice. They're bigger. They actually have like, since they're magnetic and they're not on that rail, they have like a nice protrusion that actually has the RL and the whatever the two L shoulder buttons are. And yeah, it's gonna be first of all, the Joy-Cons that exist now are way too small. The sticks are super prone to drift. They're the worst. I've gone through so many Joy-Cons, it's not even funny. But
right. Well, so how I want to say this. Is there anything else we want to talk about? Because this is basically just turning into a Nintendo podcast right now. We're getting kind of late.
Like I said, we're gonna have an episode for all the predictions and things like that. I think we should probably wrap it up here.
Yeah.
And unless there's any more final thoughts on any of the controversy, the original topic.
No, I think everything was said would need to be said about that.
Yeah, and I think that when we when the Switch 2 gets announced, we'll know the answers and we'll revisit, all these things, these photos and things like that, and I'll explain what I mean with my plastics when we see the actual the actual device. So
yeah, I like I said, I'm hoping that we get the reveal soon. But if it's actually going to be on January 8th, like people have been saying, then I don't know. We'd have to schedule a podcast episode before then. But I have a feeling that if Nintendo does do the reveal, it's going to be a quick drop. They're going to do the same thing they did with the Switch. They're going to just do that one tweet with Mario peeking behind the curtain, and then they're going to do the direct the next day. I don't think anyone's going to have time to respond to that. Yeah, it's going to be hard. It's going to be a hard thing to respond to. So
with that,
but like I said, just for the record, I think that the leak, most of the leaks except for the console that we saw in Next Handheld's picture it could be true. So like I said, 40% chance that the dock is real, but we'll see when that happens.
Yeah. So what a lot of people probably don't know, because I haven't talked about it yet, is as this goes on, we'll actually have a fourth topic here, which will be voted in by you guys.
Yep.
We'll provide more information at a later date of how we're gonna do that and how we're gonna run that. But the way we originally set the show up was each of us was gonna get to pick a topic, and then you guys were gonna get to collectively vote on a topic, and so that'll kind of be woven into the show structure as we go. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I think we're done. If you guys want to say where people can find you, Kai?
Yeah. You can find me on YouTube for Kainetsu, same for Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, except for TikTok because someone took my name. It's Kainetsu01 there. Yeah, you can find me on all those platforms.
Nice. Cicada?
Yeah, I know that people in chat already know where to find me, but yeah, Cicada Prime on X and all the socials. That's where you'll find me. Also on Twitch, Cicada Prime as well.
Nice.
And yeah, feel
for
free
me,
to follow.
I'm True Villain on Twitch, and I am the True Villain on X. I recently just made one, so
nice.
Find me on there. So, alrighty, well, appreciate everyone coming out, and that will be the end of the show. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, thanks guys.
All right.
See you next one.
Yeah, what's that date? It should be the 10th. All right. Take it easy. Peace out.
Spot 'em gang, we rollin' deep, digital streets, gifted subs, bits raining heavy like beast. Got that Twitch game locked, homies reaching elite. Shout outs in the chat, yeah, the fan can't be beat. Spotters on Twitch, giving that boost. Raids in the night, juice up the views. Homies rise high, no excuse. Subs and bits, always bringing the rules. Hustle on stream, grind never stop. Chat blowing up, climbing to the top. Viewers all in, bout to make that bop. Spot 'em gang rise, Twitch like a shop. Got the follow trains, rolling non-stop. Spotters unite, cream of the crop. Streams blow up, never gon' flop. Dreams turn real, cause we never drop. Digital dollars, squirreled away. Spot 'em gang pride, making that hay. Twitch homie scream, we making our way. Success inevitable, game we gon' sway. Spotters on Twitch, giving that boost. Raids in the night, juice up the views. Homies rise high, no excuse. Subs and bits, always bringing the roots.